All the pretty girls stand up. All the pretty boys stand up.
Pretty boys in the building.
Sway. This right here is my sway. Sway. All the girls are on me. Damn. Everybody pay attention. This right here is my pretty boy sway. Sway.
Soldier.
Get out the way. Pretty boy coming through.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another stream with Swaggle Haas. Very special midday stream because we got ourselves a Heritage Platinum auction going on. And you know, when we get these auctions, I feel like it's important to have a little bit of a watch along. So here we are today. You know, we're going to see if these big books are going on a one-way ticket to Zero Town, you know, all aboard the straight to zero train. That's how the market feels right now. We're going to see if there is money out there, if there is people buying up big books. I mean, I made my preview video where I talked about deals are going to be had. And there was actually one book that sold earlier already. Some of the big premiere books that we'll do a little bit of a review in this stream here today later on, but we'll also like follow the current books. But one of those books, I mean, that person who bought it got a major deal, and it was with the new CBCS label. So we're going to have a conversation about that. Would love to hear from you guys. You know, we all wondered, is the gap closing with this new CBCS label? Well, at least in that one instance, it doesn't seem like it did. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to watch some of the books. We'll do a little bit of watch along. We'll see how these books perform. You know, I got a haircut. Maybe some of these books are going to get a haircut as well. But before I really start to say hello to the chat, you know, we got to do a little bit of housekeeping stuff. Let me hit the little banner. You know what I mean? A little bit of shameless self-promotion. SwaggleHaasComics.com. You know, we got Sanity out there, guys. You know, if you want to pick up a book, I got issues 2 and 3 on the way. Going to start my Kickstarter for those soon. I will definitely be letting everybody know. But until then, SwaggleHaasComics.com. You can pick up a book, help support me, help support the channel. You can also go down here. There's some merchandise. You know, you can pick up a coffee cup, T-shirt. These little things. You know, these little things. You know, they start to add up. Maybe I too can bid on the Heritage Platinum session. On top of that, got a little new channel sponsor, you know, a little Ultra Pro here. Got the promo code SWAGGLE. If you want to save 5% off on anything Ultra Pro, you know, I don't know how many people in the chat are Magic the Gathering players. I love Magic the Gathering. You can get some card sleeves, you know, you can get deck boxes, but they also have comic book supplies here. You know, you go over to the scrapbooking section, you got comic book storage. I got different top loaders, all that sort of stuff. You guys know how it is. Top loaders right now are super expensive. You know, it's hard to get all those materials. You know, the shortages out there, but Ultra Pro's got you covered. You know, they got all kinds of goodies here. They even have some binder stuff, which I thought was really interesting. I ordered a couple of these things, and I might do a little bit of a preview on comic book binders. You know, how you put like the cards inside the binder, and then you can flip through and see all that stuff. Well, Ultra Pro has that for comic books as well. So that might be kind of an interesting way to have like a run, you know, if you want to flip through it. Anyways, save 5% using promo code SWAGGLE. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, I mean, maybe if you're watching the stream, you're watching along here, you might be subscribed to my channel. But I'm like 40 subscribers away from 20,000. Can you guys believe it? Here we are. You know, I'm a stone's throw away from 20,000 subscribers. And yeah, that'd be a cool milestone to hit. So, you know, let's get me there. You can see right there, 19.9K, you know, comic book content day in, day out, trying to get to 20K. It'd be quite a feat if we can do that. Also, I got channel memberships. You know, you can go down here, hit the join button. Oh God, I don't want to hear myself talk, but I got a little preview thing here. You go in here, there's different tiers. I'm going to fight myself. But yeah, got different tiers here, $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, different little bonuses and perks. I can do consultations for you guys, but give it a shot. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe you will enjoy it. All right, let's check in here with the chat here. I know what the auction is going on, but I got to do the hellos first. We got to get everything, sorted out before we really get into it. All right, here in the chat, we got Las Cruces, 1971. Hello from New Mexico. What's going on, man? Good to see you again. We got Prince of Cheese in the house. What's going on, Prince of Cheese? Good to see you. We got Warlord in the house. Hello, hello. We got David Kennedy here. We got Carl here. We got Blood Sausage here. We got Prince of Cheese. Is the 9.9 zip today? Yeah, I do think it is today. It is definitely going to come up in this session that we're going to be watching. They had the earlier session, which is like session number 1, which has like the biggest, I guess like the most premier books that, as far as like how many items were in that session, it's not too many. It's like 20 items. So they had a couple original art pieces, and then they had like some of the big books like Superman 1, Batman 1, those types of things. And then this one I feel like is that next tier. But these are kind of like the more fun ones to watch, like the books that we're all interested in, a bunch of cool golden stuff, action comic stuff, all different, more variety. And then they'll have the Silver Age stuff coming up after that. Hello from the UK, David, we got there. Virtual Reality Fitness, Kang Dynasty canceled and the sky is falling. Yeah, Kang Dynasty, everyone's thinking that, Jonathan Majors may have been written out. That's a possibility, the director leaving the project. We got Pedro Pascal being cast as Reed Richards. I mean, what is going on? Reeks of desperation right now. I don't know what you guys feel about that casting. I'm not too excited about that. But, default to trust. Although we shouldn't really, at this point, default to trust. Planet Arizona Comics in the house. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Getting a bit exhausted catching falling knives, Yeah, nobody wants to catch a falling knife. And the knife has been falling for a long time. It's been falling for a long time. But the thing is, you don't actually know where the floor is. Maybe it's going to ricochet. Maybe it's going to bounce off the floor soon. This could be it. This could be, here's the thing. I was talking about this in like one of the other videos I did where it's like everyone now in the community, even dealers, all sort of know what it is at this point. And everyone's a little bit like accepting. Like, finally it's like, yeah, that swag comic book indexing, that seems right. Yeah, the prices are right. Yeah, repricing. Oh, yeah. Can't get away with 2021 anymore. But that ironically might be the time to buy. You know what I mean? Like when everyone has accepted it. So this could, like, whatever goes for sale in this auction could be really, really good pickups for everyone who buys like a good deal on it. I mean, that's what you think. Comics Recovery, almost 20K. Awesome. Yes. Thank you. We got some more hellos here. Hello, Ramsey. Hello, 521. Hello, Pad J. Hello, Pope of Comics. Thank you. Good luck on those extra subs. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Super close to 20K. I probably will do like a channel giveaway. Trying to figure out what the prize pool would be just to do some cool stuff. I definitely have, I have one book that is pretty cool. Like it's a pretty unique giveaway and it's 4 of 4. There's only 4 of them. I will say no more. But we got that stuff out of the way. Let's close these windows here. Get the swag shop, Ultra Pro, all this stuff. And let's jump into this auction here. Now, we may not need to follow along every single book. Wait, has it already started here? What's going on? All right, let me go in here. All right, bid live now. Pro tip, guys. When you get into these auctions, all right, first we're going to turn her down because we don't need to hear her. We're going to disable live bidding. Always disable live bidding. You don't want to accidentally bid. We already had a couple big books pass by. I'm going to let them gather for a little bit before we come back and revisit, because I do want to talk about some of the stuff that has already passed from earlier in today's session. We had a lot of big books here. We had a 8.0 All-Star Comics number 8. We had a Batman number 1 in a CBCS 4 or 5 new label. We had a Captain America Comics number 1. We had this was a cool one, Marvel Comics #1. We had a more fun, Aquaman Spec guys. Get your Aquaman books before Aquaman 2 comes out. I'm sure that movie is gonna do well. And then we have Richie Rich #1. Follow along here. So I'm going to kind of do a little bit of juggling as we go. But I think the big one to sort of talk about, I think it's sort of the biggest, it's video content worthy, in my opinion. It's definitely video content worthy. Yeah, I see a little bit of a lag spike here. Let me know. Wait, hold on. Gordon, am I good? Someone tell me if I'm okay now. See if I'm okay. A bit of a lag. I still notice here. I think I'm fine. But this right here was probably the biggest in my personal opinion, one of the most anticipated books, the most anticipated books, simply due to the fact that here you have a big key, Batman #1, but you had it in the new CBCS label. And you also had that obviously for Marvel Comics #1, but the problem with this one is that this is a restored copy. So it's sort of, hard to really determine kind of a one-to-one comparison. It's restored. You never really know. Batman 1, obviously a lot more on the census, or a lot more prices to pull from. And this was in a CBCS 4.5. And as you guys see, sold for $180,000. Big number, but let's put that into perspective. We go down here. All right, we said it was a 4.5. Last 3.5, 90 days ago, sold for $228,000. And that was in a CGC label. A 2.5 a year ago in a CGC label sold for $215,000. A 2.0 a year ago in a CGC label sold for $176,500, which means effectively this Batman 1 in a CBCS 4.5 sold for the same price as a Batman 1 in a 2.0. Now, granted, corrections have come even here in the year of 2023. Corrections have come. This point in the year is different than the beginning of the year, but that is a pretty big difference. That's a large gap. And you would have thought that, a book like this, I mean, it's a good looking Batman 1. I think that this is probably a very accurately graded book, right? Presents really nice. Back's not too bad. A little bit of tanning here on the edges, but really, really solid copy. Now, it does have this little label note. Cover reattached with archival tape. Now, I have got confirmation that doesn't mean that it's restored. If you crack this out and you send it to CGC, it would not get a restored label based on that note. But that's a big drop off for this book right here. So even though I'm of the opinion that the CBCS label does look better, I think it is objectively an improvement from the previous CBCS labels. And I think that's a good thing overall. Doesn't feel like the gap has closed. Doesn't feel like the gap has closed for CBCS yet. And it's still a long road ahead. But let me know what you guys think. Are you guys still feeling like, how are you guys feeling about these CBCS labels still? Have you guys settled in on them? You feel like they're cool now, or they're not cool? You guys like them? I like them. I actually saw this book in person. I went to Collector Summit in Dallas. I saw it in person. It's a nice looking book. I think the label looks good. I think they look really good. All right. Well, I said I was going to be following along here. Let's follow along. Let me know if there are certain books, guys, that you feel like you want to kind of focus in on. Of course, we also have to decide how we're feeling in the moment right here. Obviously, we have the buy down here. We can also switch this over to sell. If we're feeling bullish or bearish about the sale right now, we can swap our positions. But let's stick with the buy to start. All right, what we had here, we had Action Comics #20 in a CGC 7.0. Always love this one, the Bank Vault being ripped off by Superman there, sold for $18,000. So really good sale. Okay, let's follow along this Black Cat right here, number 6.5. Now, this is a great book. I mean, always hard to get in the club with this one, just alone, like a $10,000 floor at the very least for this thing. So let's kind of see. Actually, let me see if I can get a little refresh on our auction here. I'm going to mute her a little bit. I didn't get ahead of myself and make it so that you guys could hear her talking, but I'll translate. All right, 1,600 in a 6.5. Let's take a look at that. Black Cat Mystery number 50. Black Cat Mystery number 50. Now, what's interesting about a lot of these PCH books, shout out to Drew, Como's Comic Books. He always talks about this. It's with the PCH books, you either have low grade beaters or you have file copies. Very, very rare to sort of find a book in that like elusive mid highish grade, like a 6.5 right there. So just quickly looking at it, we had a $21,000 sale on this one. 8.5 earlier in the year went for 27,000. So this could be a pretty inline sale. I mean, 3.0 went for 9,000 a little bit earlier than that. So what do we at here? We're about $3,000 a point, maybe. I have to do the napkin math here, but 9,000, 6.0, 18, 20, 21. Yeah, it feels like that's sold pretty much in line. So that's something that I've sort of felt at the beginning session, where I wouldn't say that anything blew it out of the park. I see you guys talking about the Aquaman and things like that. Nothing really like blew everything out of the water, but it wasn't so bad. I mean, the Batman one had that bloodbath for sure, relatively speaking. But again, there's the CBCS bias and all that stuff on that book. And nothing went crazy, but nothing outside the Batman one also died too bad. All right, let's check in with the chat here. Let me see here. Princess She says, if I never see another Batman one, it'll be too soon. Every single auction has had Batman 1, Superman 1, FF5. Like these three books, like every single auction is ridiculous how much they go up for sale. And it's been my speculation, my guess, that I think that Batman 1 and Sup 1 went crazy in 2021. You had massive turnover, right, when everybody was cashing in on all these books. And I think a lot of maybe dealers swooped them up, or a lot of people overextended and bought into them. And now with everything resetting, you have a lot of people that's like either want to exit them or turn over again, or dealers want to move on and things like that. So I have a feeling like we're finally going to get to the point where, all right, these things are back to twice a year type of stuff. But again, they're also common enough, and I think the auction houses are desperate, or not desperate enough, but the auction houses are always looking to get these types of books to be the flagship books for their sales. So Heritage Auction is always going to be hitting up people being like, oh, you want to sell your Batman 1? You want to consign and stuff like that. So there's always going to be that, and that's they're just good books to have in every single sale. What did the Aquaman 6.5 sell for? All right, let's take a look here. Aquaman 6.5. This one actually did really, really well. More Fun Comics number 73, if you guys know. First appearance of Aquaman, first appearance of Green Arrow, first appearance of Speedy. So you get a triple threat book right here. This one went for $120,000, which was a very, very strong sale for this book, considering I think the 7.0 only 90 days ago went for 114. So the 6.5 sold for more. And this 7.0 is a good looking copy on Heritage Auctions, no less. I mean, I think it's a good looking copy. Maybe it's not as saturated in terms of the red colors. These are very, very deep reds. People really do like the color stuff, but it's not a bad copy. A little scribble up here, but this one also had white pages. This one off-white to white. Either way, it felt like this was a very, very strong showing for More Fun Comics. And this is a book that I felt like it wasn't getting a lot of love in a lot of the sales recently. It felt like Aquaman was definitely taking that haircut. But hey, maybe the combination with how red this book is, I don't know if this is on the case, this like kind of weird discoloration up here, or if this is actually on the book. Maybe that's a little distracting. But yeah, I mean, look how deep the reds are. in this background right here. So this book performed very, very well. And yeah, maybe there's some Jason Momoa fans out there. All right, let's kind of check back in here. Let's see. Yeah, Black Hat 50 coming up. Would you be afraid to crack it out? I don't, if that's in reference to the Batman one, I don't think so, man. I mean, because at this point, you have such an opportunity. You know, you buy this for 180, you crack it out. Worst case scenario comes back a CGC 3.5, right? And in that sense, a 3.5 sold for 228. So you have a pretty decent margin, wiggle room to play in there. Now, granted, you're going to pay a lot of taxes and fees. And then if you sell it again, you're going to pay more fees and things like that. So, you know, maybe you're going to break even-ish to get it in a CGC 3.5, but that's sort of the worst case scenario if you don't get a 4.5, you know, or a 4.0. Maybe you get a 5.0, you know, in CGC. So I think if you're like, I have a feeling like if you're one of the big dealers out there, you know, you're a Red Hood or you're a Reese's Comics or you're you know, somebody of that ilk, and you have a little bit of capital to play, and you have the fortitude, you know, and the chutzpah to play in that space and crack this out and go for, you know, resubmissions and stuff. I mean, it's probably worth doing it. You know, I think you know, you can definitely make a really good margin in that sense. CBCS is fine. I really like the new labels. Their labels are a new improvement for sure. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's go back here. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of doing a little bit of juggling, but we'll talk about some of these books. Now, here's another very cool book that went up for sale, Action Comics 59. You know, I've been a big proponent of the Superman World War II covers. You know, I think that they're underappreciated. Obviously, a little preview for you guys. Video coming up. I got my Superman number 13 back right there. CGC 2.5. Can't believe I got a 2.5. My video is going to be the golden age grading and how generous it is, I think, in a lot of situations. But I do think that these books are really awesome. And you know, I know that golden age Spec, not really the same sort of thing, but man, like if James Gunn knocks it out of the park and we get like Superman craze once again, I mean, watch out for those books, you know. Adventures into the Unknown #1. Shout out to Drew. That Adventures into the Unknown #1, though. Yeah. Very, very cool book. I think that this one, you know, it's not one of those books that it doesn't have all the elements that, you know, high-end golden age collectors want to collect. As far as like, if we're going to lump this into the PCH book category, you know, it's not like a particularly violent or gruesome cover or anything like that. But like Drew and I always talk about, this sort of defined like the aesthetic that is Halloween. You know, you got the orange moon right there, you got the bats, you got the creepy haunted mansion right there. I mean, look at the trade dress, first ongoing horror comic. A lot of cool things going on with this book right here. Even though doesn't have like a girl in a red dress or you know, exploding face or things like that. But still, very, very strong sale for this one, 7,200. I think that, you know, these overstreet values are way off, but you know, $4,000 for a VF on the 8.0. This one going for 7,200. I think it's probably pretty accurate that, you know, it's always going to be half. The overstreet's always going to be half the value estimate for this one right here. You had an all select #1. A lot of all select ones coming up for sale. I always talk about this as probably like a leapfrog book. This was a really cool one. Astonishing number 30, Bethlehem Pedigree. One of the few, I think, major keys in the sort of Atlas horror comic. I mean, there's keys in this section, but I think that this is probably top 3 keys in Atlas horror. Still probably some room on some of these Atlas horror books. But look at that, 9.2, you know, laser beam cover right there. Joe Manelli selling for $36,000. That's got to be a record in grade, right? It has to be. What is it? Astonishing 30. Not a record in grade. It's got to be a record, period, for that book. I'd be surprised, right? 9.2. I mean, I don't know when that pedigree sold before. 9.2. Yeah, you haven't really seen it. So top of census, hasn't sold. I mean, at least not on Go Collect. And I am sorry, guys, I use Go Collect because it's a little bit more pleasing aesthetically. But yeah, hasn't sold in a while. So record right there for that book. Pretty wild overall. That hilarious, infamous Rob Liefeld classic cap art at 21K this morning blew my mind. Curious where it's at now. Yeah, for those who don't know, the Rob Liefeld um, uh, giant chest original art piece for Captain America is on sale in this auction today. It was at 21K. And yeah, it'll be fun to see where it ends. I mean, maybe I'll do a follow-up video or something like that. We'll talk about it. Swag, can we talk some shit about Epic Nation Collection and whatnot protecting him? I'm here for that dopamine hit. Yeah, I mean, we can get on that and talk that whole thing, but I mean, what else is there to talk about at this point? With it, it's like, you can kind of beat the horse. I said one thing about it, but eyes on the prize, guys. We're trying to get rich right here. You know what I mean? We're trying to buy all these comic books so we can get rich. Who cares about what Epic Nation is doing? No, I'm just kidding. We got Pressable Defects in the house. What's going on, guys? Where am I spending money? Law. Everything in this auction. Just buy, buy, buy. We're on the buy train. We could switch over to the sell train, but right now it feels like if prices are low, this could be good opportunities for sure. Got to bounce. All right, man. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. All right. Let's take a look at where we're at right now. This is one that I wanted to talk about. Captain America Comics, number 27, the classic Schomburg motorcycle cover. This is probably one of my favorite Cap covers in sort of this era. I went to a collector summit, got to see this one in person. Beautiful book. Again, nice colors, very red. Saturation is nice on this one. And this one's just badass, It's just Cap motorcycle crashing through the fence, shield blocking, Bucky on the machine gun. Just a great cover overall. 9.0 white pages. Now, I'm not sure if this was top of census. I'm pretty sure it was. Let's see. Captain America Comics 27. I'm not sure. Maybe it wasn't top of census, actually, because I did look at this earlier. Oh, it is top of census. Okay. So 2021 sale for this book. Okay. It was the pedigree, though. 2021 sale, Promise Collection pedigree. I mean, Promise Collection is the be-all, end-all of pedigrees, right? I think we can all agree with that. Promise Collection is where it's at. This one sold back in 2021 for $45,600. This one, which frankly I actually think is a nicer looking copy, at least just from these scans, just went for $33,600. So Promise Collection getting that extra, $10,000 bump, I guess. But the Promise Collection books were, they went for crazy, crazy numbers. So it is a bit of a haircut in that sense, but it's not quite it's a little apples to oranges. Still the second highest price that this book has ever sold for. This is a book that I almost picked it up, and I kind of regret that I didn't, actually. I feel bad now. I was thinking about it. Drew probably knows what I'm talking about, but didn't end up buying it when I had the chance. I thought it was too expensive, but now I just know I'm never going to see it again. You know what I mean? You guys know, it's like, this is what happens. You regret the ones that you don't buy. All right, let's kind of rewind the clock here. Talk about some of the other books that sold earlier today. Again, we're going to kind of bounce back and forth, guys. Let me know if there's a certain book that's going on this current session that we should focus in on and talk about. But I want to do a little bit of a review of the earlier session 1 that happened at 10 a.m. Pacific time this morning. Some of the big books, obviously the ones you got to talk about. All-Star Comics number 8, first appearance of Wonder Woman, selling for $180,000. Not too often you actually see some of this high of a grade for a lot of these books. All-Star Comics number 8 has been up for sale a decent amount in the sort of mid to low grade. Even when you just go into this page, right? Usually on a Golden Age book, you might expect to see a couple 1 years here, maybe one 30-day, but you see a decent amount. Definitely this book has turned over, especially down here in the low grade, quite a bit. And it's been taking some haircuts. The 3.0 sales, not doing too well. or at least last couple had not done too well. And there was actually a few grades in here. Maybe it was like in the 4.0 range that actually really took a hit as far as some of the sales in comparison to when the Wonder Woman 1 movie came out. But this 8.0, highest grade that's gone on a sale for a long time, selling for 188,000. Now that's not the all-time record. It's the third highest this book has ever sold for, but that's a really good number. That's a really, really good number, I think, for this book, but probably in line to what it also should be. It's a decent copy, you know. 8.0, I don't know. A little bit of wear up here. I think Golden Age gets a little chip down here. I don't know if this is tanning down here. Yeah, it's tanning. I don't know. Actually, that's kind of a friendly grade for an 8.0 in my opinion. But you know, the Golden Age bump always gets a little bit for some of those books, especially when you're at this level right here. We talked about the Batman 1. Then we also had this Captain America Comics #1, selling for 126,000. Now, this one definitely took a little bit of a haircut, in my opinion. But granted, I mean, faded cover, guys. Like, look at that cover. You know, not your best 3.0, not very saturated. Maybe this is a little distracting of a tear right there. Again, you know, 126,000, still kind of in line, you know, for a 2.0 selling for 114 and a 3.5 selling for 168. So it's still sandwiched a little bit in there. So it's not a bad sale, but you know, it definitely, due to the faded colors, definitely did not hit a record, so to speak. Right? We're kind of all in line, and this is sort of like kind of endemic to where I feel like things are in the market. Like even with some of these Golden Age sales, I mean, I'm sure there's tons of books in here that are going to do well, and there's going to be books that don't do well and everything like that. But whereas, you know, I think in the Comic Connect sale, when we had the Bobby Blue collection and things like that, I feel like at that time of year, everything was still, you know, firing super, or everything was still running really hot, really high. A lot of record sales still going on. I think now it's sort of like things are where they should sell for. And it's almost like that sideways trajectory. It's like, you know, when Golden Age is going sideways, it's like, all right, we're settling it. You know, that's kind of where things are, I think, currently in the market. All right, let's kind of here. We had the All Select, which is cool. We had the Astonishing, talked about that a bit. We had this Batman 1 moderate restoration selling for 43,000, 5.5. I mean, this is always one of those books where it's like, you know, you want a Batman 1, it's about as cheap as it's going to get to ever get your hands on this book. Granted, it's a 5.5 A4, you know, color touch pieces added, tear seals. So, you know, it's a pretty worked on book, I should say. But 43,000, not a bad price, you know, if you're trying to just collect this book. So not too bad overall. Had some other early Batmans go for sale here. We talked about the Black Cat, pretty decent, you know, probably in line to where it would want to be. Captain America Comics 27, you know, that was one of the premier books, sold pretty much in line. We had a Catman #28. This is always a popular LB Cole. Let's talk a little bit about this Chamber of Chills 23. Let's talk about this one here. I mean, the Lee Elias cover, probably the second most famous cover in this Chamber of Chills run. You know, obviously Chamber of Chills 19 is sort of the big key, the go-to book. But this is sort of that, you know, next in line. You got the girl in red here getting, you know, with the zombie kiss. Pretty cool cover. But let's see. VF Near Mint 9.0 Black Hat Collection, old label, selling for 22,800. So let's take a look here. Chamber 21. Wait, no, 23. I always think Chamber 21 because that's my book. That's the book that I am. Chamber 23. Let's take a look here. 9.0 selling for around the $20,000 range. So we had a 9.0 earlier in the year sell for 27,600. This one going for 22,800. So actually took a little of a hit, but what was the deal with this 9.0? So Heritage Auctions here, 9.0, old label. I mean, off-white pages, cream to off-white pages. So maybe people not liking this book as a true 9.0. It's not a bad book. You know, little gunk up there, a little funkiness here. I mean, maybe this one's a tad bit nicer looking, but yeah, a little bit of a haircut. A little bit of a haircut for this book. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, considering even in 2021, this book was at 22,800, so not a bad sale. But you know, again, I think where I'm going with this, what it feels like is, you know, some of these books, deals are coming. These are good deals here. You know, people are getting good deals right now. I think you know, in my preview video, I talked about that, where it's like, I think deals are coming. I think anyone who buys in this auction for what is seemingly a good deal and is able to hold for a while, if they believe in comic books, I think is going to be happy with their purchases. Do they have anything in the $45 range, not 45K? Well, Jimmy, you all these books at one point were in the $45 range. They were probably in that range weeks ago, but they all started at $1. So are any of them going to close at $45? Probably not. Probably not. Saw GS196 go for 11K last week. Almost sold my 9.0 for that 18 months ago. Yeah. Should have taken those gains, you know, when you had the chance. Should have taken those gains, you know, with a lot of stuff. But you know, that is where we are. Hit that thumbs up, guys. I always forget to say hit that thumbs up, you know. I appreciate that if you guys can do that. Why Not Comics in the house? What's going on, Why Not? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in. All right, let's take a look here. We had the Crime Suspense 17. You know, it's cool, but it's not my favorite cover. I know people, it's kind of like it's become like sort of a new sort of hot key within that section as Crime 22 has gotten way out of hand. All right, let's talk about this book right here. Detective Comics number 36. This is an awesome book. Selling for 26,400. These ones are really hard to come by. Oh my God, type Comics 26. These early detectives. No, wait, what did I do? 36. Oh my God. These early detectives, some of the coolest Batman covers, and very rare. Like, you know, you don't see these ones. You see early Batmans come up. But early detectives, not so much. This one right here, I believe this is this like the 4th Batman cover? Something like that. First appearance of Hugo Strange right here. But this one is it's just a badass cover. I mean, I love Batman swinging off of that. I love how the cape looks, you know, especially with the bar interacting with the trade dress as well, being like on top of it. So this one, 26,000 out of 4 or 5. Let's take a look here. I mean, again, this is what I'm saying, where it's like, you know, we're talking about the Wonder Woman one, where you scroll down on the All-Star 8 page and you see like a decent population of numbers here. This book, 0. Like, you know, there hasn't been a sale for this book in over a calendar year. In fact, let's actually go to some of the recent sales here. Okay, 1.5 selling for a slash price here on eBay. A lot of restored books, 6.0 going for 30 in 2020. So that puts it a little into perspective, right? Where it's like now a 4 or 5 basically selling almost for that 6.0 price. You know, so the floor value for this book has definitely been lifted quite a bit, and you know, it doesn't come up for sale often. So cool to see that one for sure. All right, let's take a look here. Oh, let's take a look at this Eerie one here. Let's turn it over. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Probably not so clear, but we'll do my best here. Last chance, 24,000. 7172. All right, so back-to-back cool books right here. We got the Eerie number 1 and Famous Funnies number 214. Huge books right here. Let's take a look at this Eerie. This one right here is It's like the first, what is considered the first horror comic book. Got all the elements. You got a, I don't know if this guy's a vampire or whatever he is, a cultist with the knife. You got the bondage cover, the girl in red. This is a really, really sharp looking copy. Right? I mean, look at how beautiful this is. I've seen this one in person quite a few times, but I feel like it's always low grade. The background here gets a little bit like dilapidated and just a little, not very saturated. So it always looks really, really rough. But this one is a really nice one. One of the higher grade copies on the census for sure. 28,800. Now, again, I don't think that there's any really, big comps to talk about with this one because I don't think this has gone on for sale at this high end too recently. What are we doing here? But I do think that that probably is a really solid number for that. Okay, so you had a 9.2 sell for 108,000. That's obviously top of census. Top of census is top of census. The 8.0 copy here, and we had some 3.0s sell. We had a 6.5, 7.5 back in 2020. Yeah, so 7 is your best comp right here. 7.5 back in 2022 sold for 11,250. Not the best looking copy. This is definitely a lot better looking, but I mean, look at that. 0.5 grade difference. And that was 2022. So still top height of the market. We're almost, 1.5x in price right here. So this was a monster sale for Eerie Comics #1, and deservedly so. I think this is probably one of the best copies I think I've ever seen of this book. Yeah, Vampire Guys Nosferatu. Yeah, it's got the Nosferatu look. Yeah, good point. All right, checking here. Famous Funnies, number 214, going for 18,000. Now, again, another, all these Famous Funnies covers, the Frank Frazetta stuff, always really, really popular. This is a nice looking book, 8.5. Again, another cover that has red colors on it. The saturation is super, super important for this type of stuff. Famous Funnies, 214. I have to feel like this one did pretty well. Although, I think of the Famous Funnies, this is maybe the second coolest Frazetta one in this section. I think the spaceship one is really my favorite. But let's see, 8.5 selling for 18,000. We had an 8.0 earlier in the year, sell for 14.4. So again, proper in line, respectable sale. Not necessarily blowing things out of the water. Selling in line, which I think is a good sign overall. And yeah, someone found themselves a really, really great book. Paid what they should pay for to get their hands on it. So that's pretty cool to see. All right, what else do we have here? We had the Detective Comics number 73 in the 7.0 first Scarecrow cover, selling for 18,600. I think that's a big number actually, because we had some other ones sell that were in the mid grade that felt like they went for lower than that. We also had this Detective Comics number 62 in an 8.5 great Joker cover with the balloons, selling for 18,600. Hard to put that one in perspective. Don't feel like looking it up, but again, another big number on that one as well. All right, let's check in with the chat here. See if anyone has any questions. Did you see yesterday Promise Collection Bat 37 took a huge haircut in a 9.6? I didn't see that one, but I do know that a lot of Promise Collection books obviously went up for sale, or when the Promise Collection hit the market. That was, end of 2021 or something like that. And all of these books got repriced, like so many high grade stuff, huge record sales. And not all of them were like all major keys and stuff. People went crazy for this stuff. So it's funny to see a lot of Promise Collection books get thrown back into the market. Not a lot of people looking to actually be long-term holders on this stuff. So things got out of hand in that sale. A lot of those books went absolutely bananas. So you couple that with, the current state of the market and economy, it's like, yeah, haircuts don't sound crazy to me at all. On Heritage Silver Age auction this last Tuesday, most everything was selling for way under FMV. Yeah, well, this is the thing, Greg, with FMV, I've been doing the comic index and trying to evaluate where things are going to go and all this sort of stuff. And at least in the last 8 to 9 months, I've been sort of pounding the drum of like, hey, things are going down. Like maybe if you can find a book at its 2020 price, and seemingly it's not at least yet, going to go below that. But if a book is still like selling at a certain value range and it hasn't yet corrected back to its 2020 values, then there's going to be a time when it does. So a lot of these Heritage Silver Age books, like they're selling for way under FMV, but if their FMV is still like this 90-day that is still above what their 2020 thing is, it's like, it's just bound to happen. Like it's going to happen regardless. So yeah, a lot of those books finally coming back down. All right, so we had the Erie one, Famous Funnies 214. You had some fight comics here. I don't know, Wing Comics and Fight Comics. I don't know what it is, guys. I can't get into them. I don't know if you guys are fans of, Fight and Wing Comics and the other guys. Just, I don't know what it is. They never grab my attention. They're cool. Not hating, but they're cool. We got Ghost Comics here. Oh, this one's a fun one. I want to talk about Going Steady. Going Steady Matt Baker covers. Matt Baker covers so hot in the market. Everybody likes the good girl art. Now, this one is not necessarily going to be your, what people like about the Matt Baker covers and the good girl art stuff. This one's just sort of I don't know, just going steady, man. But still, $3,100 could be key. Maybe I should bid on this one. Like spend $4,000 for a meme. Might be worth it. Sean says that's because everything was way over. You talking about the Promise Collection stuff? Yeah, a lot of stuff went crazy. Gordon says Green Hornet won, possible Chris Pine as lead along with Kato. Is that what people are talking about? Him as Green Hornet? I don't know, guys. I mean, I know Green Hornet was a little before my time. I remember seeing reruns of Bruce Lee playing Kato and stuff like that, but I don't know. The Seth Rogen movie came out where he was Green Hornet. I didn't like it. I don't know. Is Green Hornet, can he be cool? Look, I'm willing to, I'm willing to give it a chance. But I don't know. The Green Hornet 1 sold in the previous session earlier today. I think it was like a 9.4 that went for 24,000 or something like that. Some fight comics are cool. All wings are lame. Yeah, I know people like them. I just personally, I don't know. Maybe it's like sometimes you just have to sort of like open up an Overstreet or Go Collect and just look at covers for a while. Like that's what I usually do. Like I just have to like stare at covers and see if I can get myself to appreciate it. Really study the art. And I haven't done that in truth with a lot of the Wing comic stuff. Like, I just kind of see them at a glance and nothing has really caught my eye. So I have to take some time to do that. Yeah, that Seth Rogen movie made me so sad. Yeah, it was not What's Up. It was not the business. Guys, holy moly, guys. Going Steady.
I think they are 5,500.
Look at that, guys. Going Steady. I was making a joke about it selling for 4,000. Jumped right up to 6,600. I mean, dude, Matt Baker romance stuff, guys. This is the next spec. I was being facetious in my video about like, oh, you got to get this book because Valentine's Day is coming up, and somebody wrote in the comments, it's like, well, I don't know if Valentine's Day spec is actually a really real thing, Swag. And I was like, of course it's not a real thing. I was just joking, but maybe it is a real thing. Maybe it is. $6,600 is a lot. We got some Human Torch stuff, Haunt of Fear, and some Marvel mysteries coming up. Those would be some cool ones to see. But that said, let's jump back into again the earlier session with some of this stuff. I want to get to. I see your thing here, CS. Do you think comics low incentives for go higher amounts? Richie Rich one is about 100K. Yeah. I'm going to talk about Richie Rich one. We're going to get there, but let me work my way over. We got to talk about Marvel Comics #1. Let me know what you guys thought about this one right here. This was the second major book that was in the session 1 that had the CBCS label. Now, again, Marvel Comics #1, a huge grail for a lot of people. Huge, huge grail. This is a book that you really, really don't see that often. I know it's almost like a meme at this point where it's like, you don't see this book that often. It's like you eventually see every book, but you don't see this book that often. Marvel Comics #1, definitely a low grade, it's a reader copy. A lot of wear on the sides, a lot of wear down here. 2.5 restored. Amateur restoration includes moderate amount of pieces added to cover and first wrap reinforced, tear seals to cover, and first wrap cover cleaned. CBCS, new label here. This book sold for $144,000. Now, hard again to really make an accurate comparison with this book, right? Because it already doesn't sell that much. There's only 69 total graded on the census for this book. And you have to go all the way back to September of 2021, where you had a CGC 2.0 restored sell for $156,000. So this one had color touch, pieces added, tear seals reinforced, tape on interior cover. Now, in a vacuum, I think this is probably a nicer looking copy, right? A little more saturated. I mean, again, we don't know. It could be the scans. Always hard to say. But even in this instance, here we are a couple years later, 156,000 to 144. The gap hasn't closed, guys. The gap has not closed between the CBCS label and the CGC label. Still a little bit of a difference. But again, still a great purchase. I mean, for 144,000, that's, essentially the cheapest anyone's been able to buy this book for the last 5 years, right? You have to go all the way back to 2018, where you had this 1.0 copy, blue label, sell for 56,000. I think that this person got a great deal. It's probably a good buy. I mean, first wrap completely, spin detached, cover detached, all that stuff, but technically a complete copy. I think that was probably a really, really good buy for this book at 52,000. So, the cheapest price this book is sold for, but, still very, very expensive. So good to see that. All right, let's check it back in. What do we got going on here? We got the little bell notification. We had a Haunt of Fear, 9.8. Always cool to see a 9.8 EC sell for 7,200. That actually seems like a pretty good deal, right? Like to get a 9.8. I mean, it's a file copy, so file copies, they give them out like candy, for these EC books. But 7,200 is not really bad at all. I mean, this isn't necessarily like one of the major keys, but very cool Ghastly cover. One of his better ones, in my opinion. Human Torch, Jackpot. All right, we'll check back in on the Marvel Mysteries. But let's move ahead now. We already talked about More Fun Comics 73. This one did very, very well. I think it, again, has a lot to do with the red saturated colors. That's why this one got a bump. But we need to talk about the book that everybody wants to talk about at this point. We need to talk about Richie Rich #1. Not even the first appearance of Richie Rich in comics, just his #1 issue, selling for $96,000 earlier this morning. Now, while this book is the top of census, there are no 9.8s on the census. This $96,000 was not the record in grade. Earlier this year, we had another Richie Rich #1 go on sale for $108,000. Now, this one is off-white to white pages, where this one is off-white pages. However, this one is the file copy. Now, I don't know if you guys think file copies are better. I don't know if they command a premium in their price, but it is a file copy. 9.6 off-white selling for 96. This one selling for 108. Either way, I can't believe people pay this much money for Richie Rich #1. Then again, kind of make the joke like, I mean, maybe this is the ultimate flex book to own. If you got this kind of money to spend on comic books, I mean, what better status symbol is there than to have a Richie Rich #1? You know what I mean? Like Richie Rich #1, it just sort of represents like, yeah, I got 6 figures to drop on a comic book. That's me right there. This is me. This is my fantasy, living in this pool with my butler and my very, very expensive comic book collection. So interesting to see that. You have to wonder, like, this $108,000 one was the top of census. First time it went on sale in essentially 7 years. The previous to that, it was 48,900 in 2016. So somebody sold this, and then the person who saw, or once that person saw that, and it got repriced to 108,000, the person who owned this copy was like, "Holy crap! This thing's going to sell for 108. I am absolutely selling my copy right away." And they got 96. So that's pretty darn good. That is pretty darn good. Now, the problem is here is that, there's 5 of them on the census. You've now taken off 2 buyers for this comic book. So if one of the other 3 people who own this comic book at that census level is like, wow, it sold for 108. Wow, it sold for 96. If they are now motivated to sell, well, do you still have the pool? Like the pool of people that actually want to buy this book. So this is always one of those funny, interesting balances, the tricky things. Like you have to be on the long enough horizon to get that new person with the capital, with the money, who wants the book then and there, to have the anticipation to want to buy it, like say 7 years from now. But if all of them come to market at the same time, like it's too much, right, for the market to absorb. So I would have to assume that if another one went up for sale, it might get even less than this one right here. You have to wait for the demand to rise once again on this book. But that said, $96,000, huge, massive sale for Richie Rich. I kind of feel like I need to get a Richie Rich book. You know what I mean? Even on the low end here, still $1,000. I kind of want a Richie Rich. Look at this one, a 1/8, $800. I mean, maybe Richie Rich is where it's at, guys. Maybe Richie Rich is where it's at. Let's check back in here with the chat. That seems like an unbelievable price. Yeah, it was definitely a high price, but the last one was higher, And again, it's just because it all came to market. Hands yellow, heart yellow. Oh, yeah. That was some weird emoji stuff not happening. It's so meta. That's what I'm saying. It's so meta. Like, how could you not want it? Holy crap, that was a keep. Journey into Mystery 9.0. Is that something that just passed by? Let me see. Bill says, I'm somewhat new to collecting. What does file copy mean? Thanks for humoring my ignorance. Yeah, Bill, file copy is basically the copy that was kept on file by like a publishing company. So EC Comics, if they were making them, probably somewhere in their offices, they would always keep a copy of their own books. And usually because they were keeping them inside binders or however they decide to store them, a lot of the file copies are actually really, really high grade. So it'd be something that they just sort of had for their own purposes. And then years later, these things will eventually hit market. And if CGC is able to identify like, oh, this is a file copy, like meaning it came from the company itself. Some people like that. Some people don't like that. One of my books back here, this Chamber 21, is a file copy. I think it's kind of cool, right? It's cool to know like where this book was, where it was in history. It was in Harvey Publications had my book, in their offices. And so that's really what it is. We've all been sleeping on Richie Rich. In the early 70s, Richie Rich was the top selling comics. There were several. Yeah. Well, that's the interesting thing too about Richie Rich. And I think we were kind of like joking about it, is like, we're all in these pop culture collectibles space, right? And eventually some of these characters age out, right? Like, there's characters like Mighty Mouse that, his comic books are really, really expensive, but Mighty Mouse hasn't been relevant to like current generations as much as previous generations. And so you sort of have to wonder, like, will Mighty Mouse comics still be desirable 30 years from now when nobody really remembers him? Same with Richie Rich, right? He's kind of like a previous generation, and every generation has their own stuff. Like, older collectors probably don't care about Pokemon, but like this, current group of, Generation Z, they're really into Pokemon, maybe they like the Pokemon comic book. So it's always a funny thing. And outside of like what is always historic, I think EC Comics are always historic because if you're into comic book collecting, it's a historic publishing company within the space of comic collecting. Or characters like Batman and Superman have been sort of grandfathered in. Like It's likely that these characters are going to be around in pop culture for 100 years from now. But like characters like Richie Rich or Felix the Cat, even Looney Tunes are like, are Looney Tunes, how relevant are they today? A lot of these characters you have to sort of wonder. So Richie Rich is an interesting one for that reason. But maybe, again, it is the status symbol. All right, Marvel Mystery Comics here. Let's listen up.
9, jumping at 9. As you know, Toro's always in trouble. This is a great issue. Let's go to 9,000.
Great Schomburg cover.
Actually, he's not in handcuffs or anything. This one. Usually he's in trouble with the girl. Let's go to 9,500. I'm at 9,000. Do I hear 95? Jumping at 9,500. 9,000 is where I'm at. 95 is where I need to be. This is for the Marvel Mystery 28 7.0. Let's go to 95. I'm at 9,000. Do I hear 95? Jumping at 95. Fair warning at 9,000. 9,000.
There it is. 10,800. One of my favorite Marvel Mystery Comics covers. Again, just has all the elements that you want from a book like this. This is a nice copy. Nice reds on this one. Very, very saturated. Maybe a little bit of a miscut. A little misaligned, right? Like this left side's higher than this right side here. But again, great Schomburg cover. You got the girl, damsel in distress. Too bad she's not wearing red. You got the cultist right here. I love the occultist stuff. I mean, I literally wrote a comic book called Rise of the Occult. So you know where my head's at with this stuff. Very cool. Human Torch bursting through the roof right there, punching the machine. So a lot of these Marvel mystery stuff is great. And you always got to look for the ones that have all the elements, right? If you have a damsel in distress, if you have some Nazis going on, I don't know if we would count this occultist as sort of Nazi here. And you want the Schomburg cover, you want these pieces, and those are usually the ones that are the most desirable as far as like covers are concerned. Like you have some stuff like this. Here's a Nazi tank. That one's cool. You have like this one. This one doesn't have Human Torch on it, so nobody's going to want that one. Another one here. Very cool Buzzsaw cover. Again, has the damsel in distress stuff. Too bad she's not in red. I think you're adding another $1,000 if this girl's in a red dress right here. This one is also huge.
At year 10, come up and $10,000. Increments jump at 10,000. You'll want to be the first one there. What say you, Heritage Live? I say that all the time. You'll always want to be on the increment jump. Let's go to 10,000.
This one's got the bondage cover, except it's not a girl in bondage. But a lot of these Marvel mysteries are great. Can you guys hear the auctioneer when I turn my microphone towards it? Is it like somewhat audible? I'm trying to see. I feel like we have to like kind of be more present sometimes. I'm trying to turn the mic every now and again. All right, let me check back in here with the chat. What do you think about CGC opening a facility in Dubai? I feel like that could be an amazing opportunity for anyone to bring big books to flip. Everything is overpriced there and it's accepted as okay. Yeah, that is super interesting. And I probably should do a video about it or do something in that space. I think that there seemingly is a massive growth opportunity for vintage comic books, period, if they can capture more international markets. Now, I don't know if international markets care much about comic books, especially, it's an American comic book thing. I don't know if they're that into collecting. Obviously, foreign comic books exist. There's people who grew up with foreign comic books in other countries, but it does feel like it's been a missed opportunity for comic book business to have some sort of audience capture in foreign countries, especially as, the movies are down right now, but, especially as movies have become, so significant, superhero movies, it feels like there's more that can be done. So I think it's a really, really good move. And to your point, yeah, everyone in Dubai has money. So they're okay spending, or overspending to get their hands on a book because it's really nothing to them. And they're paying a premium because obviously it's just harder to get access to some of these comic books. So I think it's smart. I don't I mean, outside of what you would just assume is that Dubai has money, I don't know why CGC specifically is looking at that country, like what they see internally as like what the opportunity is there, but it could be a big deal. Like imagine what would happen. You know, it's hard to say. You know, it's hard to know like where comic books will be as an industry. How much more growth is there really? But I mean, 3,000 AF-15s out there. If all of a sudden worldwide people were interested in collecting comic books, you know, like all you have to do is you have 500 international buyers that want an AF-15. You know, if you took like a 17% of the market of AF-15 overseas, like what would that do to the fair market values of that book here? You know what I mean? So it's really, really interesting. I think that there's probably a lot of opportunity there. And outside of, you know, where comics currently are with USA, Canada, UK, like English speaking countries, I mean, sky could be the limit, but it's also a hard sell. You know, it's also a hard sell. Like how is there really that demand out there? And I don't know. I don't know. But part of it starts with, you know, growing the hobby. You know, you have to have ambassadors. You have to have companies like a CGC or a Marvel Comics or some sort of Comic-Con organization to start to have some of these events overseas to sort of grow the hobby. Because if you don't, then you'll certainly never have people get interested in it. I don't consider Silver Age books grails for me. I just don't have any connection to those books. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. I think this kind of going back on the eras and Richie Rich. Yeah, it's like, it's the funny thing. It's like everyone has their own era that they like, that they grew up on, that they have nostalgia for, and it's pop culture and nostalgia. That's what we're all buying, right? So if you don't have nostalgia for it, like it's not going to have any monetary value to you. So this is where it's like again, it's a balance of nostalgia and then also growing awareness to the hobby and appreciating the hobby for what it is, and so that you can start to appreciate some of those books. Like obviously, I'm sure a lot of us here, nobody grew up with golden age books. Like we weren't collecting, you know, Marvel Mystery Comics in the 1940s, but we learned to appreciate what they are and what they represent, and then you know they become grails to you. Yes, you can hear, but very faintly. Okay. You know, it is what it is. It's just sometimes it's cool to be present. I'll just keep going here. If they open a second location there will be 2 different grading scales. Like you mean like literally because it's a different number system? Or you think that they're going to be easier on books out there? Mike says, why are they all going for so much higher than the Overstreet? Is Overstreet even accurate? Well, no. I mean, Overstreet is not accurate, right? But I think Overstreet used to be accurate, right? There was a point where it was accurate, but obviously with the advent of the internet and eBay in particular, when you got to see like real-time sort of pricing, Overstreet has sort of fallen behind the curve on a lot of that stuff. But a lot of people still respect Overstreet as a brand because they've been around since the 70s. And up until the internet, they were the de facto pricing guide. Now, I think I kind of think of Overstreet a little bit as like if you were going to buy a stock, right? You're going to buy Tesla stock. I don't know what it is right now, but you're going to buy it at whatever the market is. But you could probably find, you know, Morningstar ratings and all these other pricing things that'll tell you that Tesla stock is really worth $200, even though it's currently selling for $400. So I think of Overstreet a little bit like that, where is it accurate to what the prices actually are? No, but like maybe it is the real fair market value for comic books because it's been based on a system of decades. Does that make sense to you guys? You know what I mean? Like, but that said, it's not really helpful, right? Because you're not going to look at it. It's not going to help you make purchases on anything, because you can point to overshoot fair market value all you want, and the dealer's just going to laugh in your face, you know, if you want to buy the book for that. Yeah, Overstreet hasn't been accurate for decades. Prince says, GA books were always the ones I coveted growing up visiting shops. Oh, that's interesting. You know, I always did covet Silver Age stuff. I just didn't understand it. I always tell the story, the very first key that I ever saw that I recognized as a key, that was an old book, is Silver Surfer #3, first appearance of Mephisto. Because when I went into comic shops and I started like buying Spider-Man and all that sort of stuff, obviously I was getting whatever was off the rack. I started to collect Silver Surfer. And I had the Volume 3 edition, you know, Steve Englehart and Jim Starlin. That was like what I was collecting that run. And I remember buying Silver Surfer #3 from Volume 3. And then I literally have this memory, like giving it to my dad and he's going to buy it for me. And then I saw Silver Surfer 3 on the wall behind the comics store dealer. And I was like, why is that Silver Surfer #3? I'm buying Silver Surfer #3. And I didn't get it. And then it occurred to me and I was like, oh, there's like older comic books. And then that's when I became aware of like, oh, what is Silver Age, and start to learn a little bit like that. I was still too young to really fully grasp it, but that's interesting that you had that experience where you were actually coveting those books from back in the day. Reese's Rare Comics in the house. What's going on, guys? Overstreet is just that, a guy. Yeah. Austin, can I buy out your shop using Overstreet pricing? You know, can I just be like, dude, like it says right here, fair market value is $100. Let me get this book for that. How would dealers react? If you guys don't know, go check out Reese's Rare Comics. Go check out their online store. Great guys, great books. Go get some deals. I'm hoping they have a Black Friday sale. I feel like you guys usually do that. All right, we got more Marvel Mystery Comics going by. You know, all these great books. You know, a lot of the stuff can't go wrong. Oh my God, we got to talk about this. Look at this, guys. Back-to-back sales for Marvel Mystery 46. 45,600. That is a monster. I mean, this is a major key. Obviously, got the Hitler on it. So here you have like all of the elements. All of the elements. You got Alex Schomburg cover. You got Bondage girl, if only she was in a red dress. On top of that, you have the Hitler cover factor right there. This is a major key, maybe one of the most expensive Marvel Mystery Comics within this run. There you see it up there. Classic Hitler cover, Bondage cover. So has all the elements, a 7.5, beautiful copy, white pages, selling for 45,600. And on top of that, we had another one, back-to-back sales for this book. You had the 7.5 and you had the 6.0, selling for 38,400. This was a nice looking 6.0. You know, colors were nice, red. I mean, maybe the 7 is a little bit better, but for books that look great, I mean, you could have saved yourself, you know, $7,000 picking up this copy. But those are some monster numbers, right? For those books right there. Secret Diary of Eerie Comics, another great book right here, or Eerie Adventures. You know, this is a classic skull cover right here. People seem to like this one, fairly rare. It's a very thick book. It says right here, big giant book. This is one of those ones that comes in the thicker cases. Avon Publishing, 1953. You know, another one selling for, what did it get? 14,400. Big number for that one. We ain't got time to look it up. All right, let's check back in here with the chat. We got Comic Ozzy in the house. What's going on, Comic Ozzy? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see, Reese says, well, it has some utility, but for keys and commonly traded books, it is fairly inaccurate. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Black Friday sale details dropping in their newsletter next week. Oh, looks like somebody go spend some money on Black Friday, guys, so that Austin can refill his bank account. Looks like he got something special. Neo Cart's in the house. What's going on? It's all going to zero, Neo. It's all going to zero. All right, let's listen to
The cut is 25.
Subby one, guys.
But that's okay. You can still make a full bid. Let's go 28,000. I'm at 26,000. Do I hear 28? This is a Submariner number 1 in 6.0, jumping at $28,000. I'm at 26. Do I hear 28? Come on in at $28,000. Let's go to 28. 26 is what I have. 28 is where I need to be. Jumping at 28,000. What say you, Heritage Live? Do not quit on me now. Let's go to 28,000 for this great Submariner number 1. Fair warning at 26. 26,000.
All right, Subby one, 31,200. Let's take a little check of this one here. I feel like we've seen a couple Subby ones go for sales somewhat recently. So, it's always hard to get accurate golden age sale comparisons. So you have to focus on some of those books that sell enough, like a Batman one, where you can get some pulse of what's going on in the market here. So that we just have the 6.0, 31,200. All right, so not too long ago, I think this was at Heritage before, 7.5 went for 55,200. Then you had a 5.5, 5.0 sell for 33 and 28. So a little bit softer on this one, right? 6.0 copy. Let's take a look and see if there's anything that throws it off with this guy. Centerfold detach, cream to off-white, a little bit of specklediness up here, some gunkage, but I don't know, not too bad, right? I mean, nice yellow, colors are nice, nice book. Check out the back, seems all right. Old label, cracking press candidate, 9.8 guaranteed, based on how CGC used to grade. Because CGC's gotten soft, guys. They've gotten soft. They're just giving away 9.9s now. All right, so 31,200, 7.5 for 55, 5.5 for 30, 5.5 or 5.0 for 33. So a little bit softer on this one, but not too bad. I don't know. Maybe some of these were a little more expensive. And again, this is the situation where we always say with like the golden age stuff, it really just depends. You have a book here that sells enough or pops up enough that this book too can feel some of the market evenings. I'm not going to call golden age evenings, trading sideways. Not always setting record prices. But the books that don't show up often, obviously those people are going to need to buy what you can buy, because it's like this is your one chance that you've had in these last couple of years. But a Subby one, a Batman one, some of these ones have been rolling around enough to where they're not always going to set a record price, because a buyer just got taken off the table. If you got your copy of Subby 1 4 months ago, well, that's one less buyer, right? So you got to build up the demand side. The supply side is too much. It's got to be even. It's got to even it out. David says, sorry, I was watching another Swaggle Hots video. What did I miss? David, it's all right. The only acceptable thing that you can do to not be watching my stream is to be watching another video. So you are excused. We've had some big sales. You missed some big sales. We missed some haircuts, things like that. But there was one other big sale from earlier in the day that I didn't talk about yet, that we, of course, need to talk about. We've been talking about the Batman ones, Subby ones, things like that. We got to talk about Superman number 1, the 3.0, selling for $300,000. $100,000 a point for this first issue of the Superman run. Now, this book is not a bad 3.0, not the most colorful of Superman ones, right? Also, too, I don't know if this is a situation where maybe there was some resto removal. Does that seem like resto removal to you? I don't know, guys, but not a bad copy. Just not as yellow and bright as some of the other copies that we've seen before it. And for $300,000, maybe this one took a little bit of a haircut. You know, I went to the barber. This book also went to the barber. Because the 3.0 earlier in the year sold for $360,000. But again, is this a better looking copy? No. In fact, actually, this is the same copy. This is the same copy that sold earlier. Interesting. Oh, wow. The story gets deeper. I didn't actually do my research here. This book sold for $360,000 at Heritage Auctions earlier in the year in June, going for $360,000. And this person had to sell their book. And they sold it for $300,000. Ooh, that's got to hurt, guys. That's got to hurt. You have to wonder what the idea with this was, right? When they decided to purchase this book, got a little overzealous. This is the same book, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. Got a little overzealous. Spent $360,000. And then realized, I probably shouldn't have bought this. I probably shouldn't have bought this. And they had to auction it off again. I mean, not only that, but it's like you spend $360,000. You're also paying taxes on that. You're paying who knows what the shipping fees are for. I mean, you know, at least $1,000, right? You got all that stuff going on, and then you sell it, and you're losing a little bit of margin here, you know, on top of that. So that is a rough one. That is definitely a rough hit for that Superman #1 right there. And again, this is a book that's at one point, guys, Golden Auctions, $720,000 for this copy right here. And this was on Golden Auctions. You know, a lot of people were talking about when that Action 1 sold for like $1 million less. Everyone's like, oh, but it was on Golden Auction, so it doesn't count. It's like record and great here for Superman 1 is on Golden Auction. So, you know, any given sale, guys, any given sale. So Soup 1, you know, again, kind of like Batman 1, even though this book is extremely rare, Blue Label, only 74, you know, much more rare than Batman 1. Too many of these come into market. Again, I've talked about earlier in the stream. I think a lot of dealers bought these. A lot of people went crazy. You know, a lot of turnover in these last couple of years with prices. And now things are getting pushed back out. Things are getting reshuffled. And that's why you've seen these books turn over. And here's a 1.8 that sold for essentially the same price. But again, buy the book, not the grade, right? Situation where it's like this is a much more saturated yellow cover compared to this one right here. I mean, you know, maybe the scan is throwing this one off. I don't really know, but it's still Heritage Auction scan, so I have to imagine that this one looks better. I'd rather have this copy, right, than this one. So kind of, you know, buy the book, not the grade. That's kind of why the prices are roughly the same. But I would say the Superman 1, again, much like Batman 1, much like Subby 1, some of the superhero stuff that has seen enough sales have begun to kind of even out a little bit. James says, don't forget the buyer's premium. Well, those sale prices include the buyer's premium. So when we do pull up this $300,000, that includes the buyer's premium on that one. So, and in theory, you know, Go Collect gets a lot of stuff wrong all the time. I just use it because we can look at the actual scan of the book. It's much better for our streaming purposes here. But in theory, these should also include the buyer's premium. So yeah, it's rough. Prince G says, oh no, I missed it. Should have bid $300,001. Should have. Could have had a good opportunity right there. Could have had a great opportunity. All right, let's check back in. What do we got coming up here? All right, we just saw some Disney books here. Anything cool in this, guys? Prize Comics, Power Comics, Strange Comics, Thing here. Some Disney books. We got Unseen. We got War Against Crime coming up. This one excites me. Nobody's going to care about this book. Oh. Had a little kick out right there of audio, but I should be good again. This one excites me. War Against Crime, #10, first appearance of the Vault Keeper, another file copy, and just a book that I like. I like this era. I like this cover. Looks good, you know. Yeah, Eric says here, for the Superman seller, 8 buyers and sellers premium. Yeah, that's a rough one, you know. Something must have happened. You know, you got to wonder what it was. Like, did someone get drunk one night and just, you know, impulse bought something and realized, oh my God, I just made a $75,000 mistake, you know, like based on the actual haircut that they have to do. But, you know, you got to take that $75,000 loss in order to not be able to, you know, hold on to the other $225,000 that you spent to get the book. James said, "This is James. Oh, Robot Monster Island. Oh, what's going on, James? Good to see you, man. Yeah, if you guys don't know, go follow Robot Monster Island on IG. He's always got great whatnot sales. You know, just $1 bids on his Silver Age keys. Wild man. You know, just letting it rip. So, you know, if you want some chance to win some good books, go follow him over there. Maybe I'll see you at LA Comic Con. I bid on a Heritage book and didn't realize I won till the next day. Good times. Did you pre-bid ahead of time, or like were you not live auctioning ones? It's always interesting. Like there's certain people that like do the bids like earlier in the auction or pre-bid. You know, I'm of the opinion that if you can, it's better to bid live. You don't want to inflate the numbers too high, right? You don't want people to think that, oh, this book's going hot, and you get people to panic. You want it to go under the radar a little bit. Keep it low, keep it low, keep it low, and then try to snipe at the very last second. Let's see what else we got in the sale. We got War Against Crime coming up. We got some Young Allies, got some Worlds comics, got some Schomburg stuff, got a Wonder Woman #1. That's pretty cool. We got the Bounded books. Oh my God. The Bounded books make me cry. The Bounded books make me cry. Like what could have been, right? With a lot of these keys. What else we got coming up? Scrolling forward, and then we're going to get to Silver Age. This will be interesting. We're going to look at this Amazing Fantasy 15 in a 6.0. This is the premier AF15 in this auction, and no, you know, only a 6.0. Granted, only a 6.0. It's an expensive book, but you know, again, we had that time where it was like, dude, like AF15s were just being dumped on the market, like weekly auctions, just constantly. Now we're finally starting to see people say, I'm not going to sell my AF15 again. What's up with the 9.9? Yeah, what's up with the 9.9? Good question. Where is that one? Zip. Oh, okay, it's coming up here. Zip Comics #7. 9.9, guys. CGC 9.9. Mile High Pedigree to boot. I might lose some street cred with you guys. I don't really know much about this book. I mean, I don't know. Is it a key? Is it cool? I mean, I don't think so, right? It's just a 9.9 Mile High copy. So interesting to see what that'll go for. I was live. It went so fast. Oh, I gotcha. But you know, you got the book. Hey, you got the book. I pre-bid and forgot the buyer's premium. Yeah, Jose, you know, we've all been there. You know, little hot tips in case you guys don't know. I'm sure a lot of you guys know, but you know, when you're in Heritage, you're in this format, you know, you can see the next bid is 7,500, but with buyer's premium is 96, or like, you know, here, next bid 8,000, buyer's premium 96. You know, when you're bidding, just always factor in the buyer's premium as part of the fair market value, or as part of like what you are spending on the book, because the buyer's premium will always get added into GPA. Like it's always going to be, that's what the price of the book is, you know? So some people get hung up with the buyer's premium stuff, and all auction houses do it a little bit different. You know, at least with Heritage, it is transparent on the front. With Comic Connect, it's a per book situation. Some of them come with buyer's premium, and it'll say in like the description, like down here, you know. Some of them come with buyer's premium, some of them don't. So it's a little bit hit and miss. And then in Comic Link, it's not on there. You get, usually it's like a 3% buyer's premium after the fact. So you have to like kind of think about that as a consideration. So, you know, when you're bidding, you just factor in the buyer's premium. It is what it is. And you just make that be your decision of if you want to buy it or not, because it's going to get into the GPA anyways. But yeah, some auction houses don't show you the buyer's premium. There's some auction houses, like some of the smaller ones, like you'll buy a book, like you buy it for $1,000 and you actually don't know. You're like, I think it's always a safe assumption that when you do get auction stuff, there is going to be a buyer's premium, but sometimes not. You know, if you buy off of eBay, there's no buyer's premium, there's just tax, right? So it depends. But some of them hit you with that, like after the fact. It's like, oh crap, I have to pay like a 10% buyer's premium. Like that's crazy. Yeah. Oh yeah. Eric says, yeah, PBA had a 25% buyer's premium and don't show it. Lots of them after the last second. Yeah, exactly. Those are the worst situations, especially if you're a first-time buyer from that auction house, right? Like I remember like the first time I bought from Comic Connect and the first time I bought from Comic Link, you know, it was like, I didn't know. Like I thought like maybe there would be, but I didn't actually know like how much it was going to be. And yeah, 25% is rough. You know, that's a sizable difference in what you're going to pay when you buy a book. So it's crazy to see that. All right, let's check back in the chat here. You know, I'm going to do a little, as we kind of gear up to these books, let me do a little shameless self-promotion, guys. You know, we got swagallhousecomics.com. You know, if you don't have the money to pay $300,000 on a Superman 1, you can buy a great comic book that I wrote for $6. Or, you know, maybe you need to protect your comic books. Go to Ultra Pro, get some top loaders, and save 5% using promo code SWAGGLE on ultrapro.com. So go check that out. Also, hit the like button, guys. All right, let's take a look here at War Against Crime. First appearance of the Vault Keeper. We got the file copy. Top of census, I believe.
$10,000. How about 11? I have 10,000. Do I hear 11? I would be very surprised if I see the 9.9 anytime soon. Jumping in at 9.8. That is a great book. Let's go to $11,000. I'm at 10,000. Do I hear 11? Jumping at 11. First appearance of the Vault of Horror and the Vault Keepers. That would take over the title soon. Let's go to 12,000. I'm at 11,000. Do I hear 12? Let's go to 12. 11.5 on the count. I'll take that. Hit me at 12. Jump back in at $12,000. Only $500 more. Put you back in the lead. I'm at 11.5. Do I hear 12? You'll never complain about the ones you get. You'll only complain about the ones that let get away. Trust me, I don't.
I like that the auctioneer's working it.
1,000. I'm at 11.5. Do I hear 12? I will say fair warning at 11,500. 11,500.
You know, it's always funny with the live auctioneers. Shout out to Vince Zerzolo, Comic Connect. I did my Swagglecast podcast with him and talked to him about the auction format. And he was saying like they choose to do non-auctioneers because for him it's like it's inconsistent, right? There's a human error. It's like, is this guy going to sell the book hard? Is he going to, you know, drop the hammer right away? You know, it really just depends. So this guy's working it a little bit. You always got to work the books. You gotta cause the FOMO. You know, even at this level, people get FOMO. You know, even Golden Age, Mega Grail buyers can still get FOMO based on the auctioneer and how much they pitch it. All right, War Against Crime number 10. Again, a book. I love this book. First appearance of the Vault Keeper. Cool Johnny Craig cover. I love how he does, how he lays out stuff. A lot of use of foreground and background, and tells a story with the newspapers and all that sort of stuff. There's 199 on the census of this book. Can you guys believe that? 199. This one just sold for, what did it go for? 13,800. So, you know, this one also taking a haircut. Again, this is just a book that I think is cool. I don't necessarily think that this is something that a lot of collectors are going to really, really overpay for. But you can see 16,500, 16,800, 15,600. So multiple times this book has sold for a little bit higher. So that one definitely went to the barbershop. That one. Same copy too. You know, look at this, like same copy. Last time this sold on Comic Connect. So someone took their Comic Connect purchase at 16,500 and then consigned it at Heritage. Granted, it could have traded hands a couple times in between as well, but cool book to see. All right, we got Wonder Comics coming up, 15 airbrush Schomburg cover. You know, I think that these ones are pretty cool. This little stretch of Schomburg covers right here. People like that. Got the Wonder Woman number 1, World's Best Comics number 1, That's kind of a cool one as well. Young Allies, cool Young Allies cover, not my favorite. And then we're gonna see Zip in the 9.9 here. Let's check back in with the chat. What do you guys got going on here? Examples on my PBA purchase bid was 15,000 plus 37.50 insurance and handling plus 37.50. So the buyer's premium. Insurance and handling 235.62. So 19,013. Yeah, exactly. Like it's a lot. Yeah, 37.50 buyer's premium. It's really, really rough when you enter those situations. You know, especially if you don't know that it's going to happen. Now, is PBA the one that was selling all those DC comics? If you guys don't know, there was a consignment that this person had, like all these detective comics, Batman, Superman's, action comics, things like that. Basically had almost like every single DC key. And a lot of them were restored though, or came back restored. Some of them were incomplete. But yeah, that was a big, okay, it was, yeah. So that was a big auction that just came up. And yeah, I bet, Eric, you're probably not alone, you know, in that, like, obviously this brought a lot of attention to that auction house. So it was probably a little bit unclear of like, so what's the buyer's premium here? You know, it's not very easy to sort of find out all this information, you know, a little bit behind the curtain stuff. So, another kick out, guys, another kick out of audio. But anyways, I was saying, yeah, there's a big collection, DC books that went to PBA, and it's not easy to find out like how these auction houses work, you know, to how much do they, you know, the information isn't that clear. It's not that available. So it's always a tricky thing. Let's see here. What is Swaggle going to buy today? Oh, don't worry. We're going to be off stream for those ones. Can't be talking about books to all you snipers out there. Can't be pumping up the books that I'm after, right? No, I'm just kidding. Nothing in this session that I have my eye on. Although I have my eye on some things. Does Heritage talk about those final numbers when mentioning their sales 90K, or do they just say 15? Well, the auctioneer says 15. So if you'll notice when he does the auction, he'll be like, oh, going for this, and sold for $20,000, Wonder Woman #1. Even though the hammer cost, like the full thing with buyer's premium, is 24. So they'll say that. But as far as like, if you go onto heritageauctions.com and you look up prices of books and all that stuff, like it's going to include the buyer's premium as like the actual cost of everything. And same with like GPA, it's going to include the buyer's premium. It's the only time they really don't acknowledge the buyer's premium is just when the auctioneer is saying it. And I don't know if that's on purpose. It probably is, you know, a little bit of like a, hey, it's only 100,000, you know, 100,000, bid 100,000. And it's like, oh man, I have to pay 120, you know? So they probably want to make it sound like it's less than it is. All right, let's listen in.
An answer. Bid at $22,000 on the phone. Now we need
Oh, got a bid.
to what you're 24 from you. So I need a reply. I had 22,000 on my phones here in Dallas. Let's go 24 now. I had 22 here. Do I hear 24 from you, Heritage Live, jumping at 24? At 22, I need to give you a fair chance, right? Heritage Live, we took a few minutes here, a few seconds. Now I'm going to give you a few seconds. Let's go 24,000. I have 22 on my phones. Do I have 22 or 24 from you, Heritage Live? I will say, fair warning once more, 22,000. 23,000 on the cuts. I only need 1,000 more on the increment. I have 23,000. Do I hear 24 jumping at 24?
It's battling it out, guys. Battling it out.
Phone bidder at 23 or Heritage Live, you can jump in and beat him. I need 24,000 though. This is a half increment up. They've done half the work for you. You want to bid at 24,000? I'm at 23,000. Do I hear 24? Jump in at 24,000. Only $1,000 more. What says my phone bidder? What says Heritage Live? I will say fair warning. Do I have a
All right, he worked it, guys. He worked that one pretty hard. Let's see. 27,600, Wonder Woman 3.0, or Wonder Woman 1. Let's see. What should that have sold for? Now, this one, I feel like, has come up somewhat recently. So last one, 27,600. And that one's selling for 27,600. So look at that. Right in line. Right in line. And I think that's kind of what we've seen, right? This to me is like where a lot of golden stuff is. Like even some golden age books got a little bump, right? In 2022, 2021, 29,000 and a little bit less next time, 27. And this one's selling at 27 again. So, a lot of the books that don't come up for sale often, they're going to set record prices for themselves for sure. But the ones that you see, like a Wonder Woman 1 and things like that, more of a sideways movement. It's World's Best Comics for 31,000. What do you guys think about World's Best Comics #1? What do you think about this cover? You guys like it, or do you think it's corny? I kind of like it. Like, there's not too many books where you're gonna get like all three of these guys on the cover. Especially Superman and Batman. Superman and Batman covers. You got the baseball one. You got them like sitting on top of the cannons of the gunship. This is probably the coolest one. All right, let's listen into this one.
$14,000 to right here. 26,000 down to 28.
It's a 9.9, guys. 9.9.
Reading it right. This is a 9.9. It's the highest rated. It is the oldest to be certified 9.9. It's unbelievable. How could you let this go? We need $44,000 next. I'm at 42,000. Do I hear 44? 9.9 still come around every day. In fact, in 7 years of working for Heritage, I have submitted thousands of books and not once gotten a 9.9. Let's go 48,000 now. $50,000. How about 55? That's how hard these are to get this high grade. Let's go $55,000. I'm at $50,000. Do I hear 55? Jumping at $55,000. This is the Mile High pedigree. It's a 9.9 with white pages. You could not ask for anything more for a comic book. It doesn't get any better than this. They don't even make them in 10.0s at times. I mean, they come off the floor and somebody looks at them from a mile away and they drop to a 9.9 at least, right? Let's go $55,000. I'm at $50,000. Do I hear $55,000? 50,000, 55 is what I need. You will have bragging rights if you own this book. Let's go $55,000. I'm at 50,000. Do I hear 55? Jumping at $55,000. What say you, Heritage Live? Do I have an advance? 55,000. $50,000.
Wow. Wait, did it close?
$55,000.
It didn't close.
It was right in the last second. Let's go 55.
Last second.
I'm at 52.5. Do I hear 55,000? Jumping.
Who in the chat bid?
Like this. Doesn't matter. You're never going to see it again. You might see it a 9. You might see it a 9.6 or a 9, but you're not going to get the 9.9. It's going to go into a collection. You won't see it. Don't you want it in your collection? Be in that collection. Make it yours. Let's go $55,000. I'm at 52,500. Do I hear 55,000? What say you, Heritage Live? Do I have an advance to 55,000? Fair warning. 52,500.
Wow. Wow. The flagship book, guys, of the catalog. $63,000. Zip Comics #7, $63,000 in a CGC 9.9. It would have been a 10-0. It would have been a 10-0 without that little color breakout there in the corner. right, guys? Would have been a 10.0. Oh my God, CGC 9.9, guys. What an incredible book right there. Look at this. Perfect. Flawless. What? Flawless book, guys. Oh my God. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful book. Perfect, perfect copy. And bro. 9.9, guys. What is that? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You know what? If you bought this book and you watch the channel, congratulations. It's an incredible book. Edgar Church, Mile High, Charles Bureau cover, Meskin art, Zip Comics, #7. I mean, ultimately, pretty good, pretty cool if you can get a Golden Age comic book in a 9.9, 63,000. We got to do a little bit of a price check on this. Zip Comics #7. I know I'm losing street credit with you guys, but I don't know anything about this book. 1940. All right, the 9.9 did sell in 2012 for $22,000. Same book. Not a bad little flip for yourself, right? You tripled your money in 10 years. It's okay, not bad. Really good investment. But yeah, wow. 9.9s. You know, they just, again, CGC, they just give them away, guys. They just give them away these days. Sorry, Captain Essex, or the chat. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Now we're in Boring Town here, where we have a bunch of bounded comic books, guys. We're definitely gonna stream for a bit more here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, guys, today. This has been fun. It's always fun to stream during these auction things. I feel like gives us, something to talk around, little conversations to have around books. One of these days we're gonna make this an event, right? We're gonna do a lot of stuff. We're gonna have multiple camera angles. I want to have John Madden cam, where I can pull up a book and I can draw and do circles and booms and stuff and unintentionally draw like a phallic thing. That would be hilarious, right? To a lot of these books, but you know what? With this Zip comic sale right here, with this one, guys, in this CGC 9.9, we gotta swap. We gotta swap over to sell. All right, we were buy, but we gotta go over to sell. But yeah, thanks again, guys, for hanging out with me. We're in the bound comics section here. Curious to see what some of these will go for. I'm sure there's always value here in a lot of these books, but look at this one right here. Which one was it? There was a Pep 22 that had first appearance of Archie in one of these bounds, and yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad because I mean, imagine if these were actually in CGC cases. Here's a first Archie cover right here. So that one might be one of the more desirable ones. But we're going to go through. We're going to hang out for a bit more. We're going to go see, and we're going to sit through some of these early ASMs. I want to see, what this ASM 6 hits for. I want to see what this ASM 14. I want to see where the AF 15 and the 6.0 goes for. And let's see if there's anything else pretty exciting. Got some Doom books here. Got some FF stuff. What do you guys think about Pedro Pascal being Reed Richards? I don't know if you guys heard the news. Apparently, the new rumor is that Pedro Pascal is going to be Reed Richards. It doesn't excite me. I mean, I'm willing to give him a chance. Maybe he'll be good. I don't know. But kind of feels like they had to go down the depth chart with their casting, right? It kind of feels like they had 5, 6, 7 other people in mind, and none of them worked out. And they're like, yeah, Pedro's worked for Disney before. Sure. We already have his W9, so let's just give him the role, Got some other interesting ones. Hulk 181 in a 9.8. Actually at 63,000. That's pretty good. I mean, it feels like that book could go for even lower. 9.6 Iron Man 1. Some cool stuff here. Oh my God. Did you guys see this one? Ultimate Fallout 4 Jurjevic variant. Item has been withdrawn. I wonder why, guys. I wonder why. Item withdrawn. Man. The Jurjevic variants live to fight another day with their GPA values. We got some cool X-Men stuff here. Vampirella. And then there's this one right here. You know, this is pretty cool. I learned this when I went to Heritage. Pulps, guys, right now. Pulps are going bananas. Hard to say like what the future really is with the pulps. I mean, pulps definitely have some of the best cover art. You know, lots of amazing cover art. I mean, at this point, you know, if you're buying a graded comic book, you're essentially buying the cover anyway. So might as well buy a pulp. But this one I learned, the Gorilla of the Gas Bags. This pulp right here is one of the ultimate grails. I mean, it's literally in this session, right? This is one of the ultimate pulp grails. I don't know why. I mean, I know that it's really, really rare. I don't know if this was done by someone in particular that is super respected. I don't know if there's somebody in the chat right now that knows a lot about pulps. But when I went to Heritage, I saw this book in person, and I learned this from the one of the consignment people who sources pulps for them. She had mentioned that this is one of the ultimate grails. So some cool stuff coming up here. But let's check back in here with the chat. I'm curious on who is bidding. Metropolis? Like, you mean who's bidding in this auction? You know, you'd be surprised. You know, people bid all the time, and I'm surprised. Like, you know, sometimes I'll talk about some of these sales, and I mean, I bet there's people in this chat right now that are bidding. You know, everybody bids. It's a small world that we live in with the comic books and stuff like that. You could always have R. Kelly join the stream. No, I don't think R. Kelly is going to be joining the stream. Oh my God, David, I'm not going to read your comment. Oh my God. They should stop with the FF movies. I mean, it's coming, guys. It's coming. Or Javier Bardem is the big purple planet eater. Yeah, that's the other rumor. Wasn't the other rumor, wasn't it going to be Antonio Banderas? Wasn't that the rumor for it, that he was going to be Galactus? They're pivoting to Javier. He's a great actor, but he has a dark quality that doesn't write for Richards. Yeah, you know, it's like I don't see it. But again, you know, they're great actors. So whatever he did, you know, in his audition, I'm sure he put something on tape for them, and maybe he has a good take on it. But it doesn't feel like it's their first choice. That's what it seems obvious, right? That UF4 will be sub 5K in no time. You think so? Man, we were looking at it and it felt like, okay, worst case scenario, I think it would maybe go down to 9K, 9-10. That was my thought, worst case scenario. But I really think 13, 14 is like my estimation of what it'll hit eventually in its fair market value. But we'll see, man. We'll see. They should stop with FF movies. But last thing, I think for the future, I still think it's a great book. You know, we're just in that market. It's got the COVID money in it. Got to correct a little bit. I still think it's one for the future. I'd say, like, if you're someone who's bullish on Miles, better to have that book than UF4, like the cover A, right? Like, might as well have the Trujevich one if you can afford it. They should stop with the FF movies. Huh? What a weird opinion. Are you not a comic fan? Well, you know, I think I made my thing like just, you know, I had my video that I said just stop. I'm being like obviously a little hyperbolic with a lot of this stuff. Obviously, you have to do FF. You got to give FF a chance. Now, that said, I'm not even that big a fan of FF. Like, I like them, but they were never really like my favorite superheroes growing up. And I know a lot of people love FF, and I've read some of the John Byrne stuff, and they're cool and like all that. But like, yeah, I've never been a huge Reed Richards fan. But like, I mean, this is what they got now, right? Like, this next era is going to be X-Men and FF, and they got to make that work. Although, I mean, honestly, when they reset for Secret Wars, I actually hope they just recast Iron Man, recast Captain America, bring those characters back in. You need them. You need them in the world. You don't have to have the universe revolve around them, but they need to be on the roster. Too many graded stuff for the market to absorb. Video games, VHS, pulps, etc. Yeah, the VHS one is interesting. All the collectible stuff is interesting. I think that there's some video games are kind of cool. I do think that video games have some potential, but the problem is we just don't. I don't think people really know what the census is. With a lot of this stuff. That's why you had like the $1 million Mario sale that happened, and then it was like that thing had a major crash because it's like it's not clear what is actually rare yet with a lot of video games. It's not clear. Even with the pulps, like I know pulps are rare, but like they've only just started to like figure out, oh, let's grade some of the pulps. So like that it's going to take like 10 years to like, oh, okay, this is the actual census. Like, oh, okay, like this is how many are out there or whatever. And people have a sense of what's rare because if you've been in it, you can kind of get a good, like, you get a vibe check, a gut feeling of like, you kind of just know what's rare. But even still, we got to get the census out there. And it's for VHS, for video games, for everything, so that it can become more clear what are the grails. Pulps are better than any comics, period. They are for adult readers, grown-ups. Well, I mean, people do like pulps. Pulps are kind of the new frontier for a lot of people. There's a lot more bios than people realize. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely people that are buyers out there. Let me see. Sorry, just catching up with the chat. Watch the other FFs that did not appeal. I just watched the other FFs, did not appeal to me. They did not do very good at the box office. That's my opinion. Yeah, I don't think that's a controversial opinion at all. I don't think those movies were very well received. Period. Yeah, the other FF movies were not. Yeah, like you're saying, they weren't very well received. Let's see. MK, I do hope Disney gets the message that the FF movie should feel standalone. Stop trying to connect everything to everything. The audience is lost, bro. The audience is lost. You know what bothers me so much? This bothers me so much. And maybe we're going to get these answers in Captain America 4. But I get so bothered when we're watching like a Disney Plus show. Like maybe it's like a Ms. Marvel or something, or She-Hulk, when they just say stuff like, oh, like blah, blah, blah. And you could just be on like the Avengers. And like, to me, it's like, what is the Avengers right now? Like in canon, in the world, what is the Avengers? Because how I understand the Avengers is that it was started by Nick Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then S.H.I.E.L.D. collapsed, and then RDJ, or Tony Stark, funded it, right? He moved them to Avengers Tower, and then he built the facility in Age of Ultron. So Stark Industries owns the Avengers because he funds the team. And then he died. So in my opinion, logically, I think the Avengers are a private organization that Pepper Potts owns. And last I checked, Anthony Mackie doesn't really have that great of a relationship with Robert Downey Jr. or Iron Man because he shot War Machine out of the sky. So like, he's not an Avenger, right? Like he doesn't have an Avengers card anymore. Did Pepper Potts have him on the team? Like, is he really the leader of the Avengers? To me, Pepper Potts is the owner of the Avengers and the only person that probably still has a working access card at that facility is maybe Thor and maybe Bruce Banner, right? That's it. So in my opinion, there is no Avengers team right now. They got to figure that out. You bringing out the flamethrower for the end of the stream? Well, Bill, it's funny that you say that because I think it's time to bring it out right now. I can milk the flamethrower every single time with a click of the button. All right, guys, we're letting these bounded books go by, but we're checking here with the chat. Still catching up. I'd rather own 10 9.8 copies of the standard UF4 than one Drageva at the same price. Really? That's interesting. I suppose, I mean, you probably make more money, right? I mean, it's like you have more inventory to sell. It's the same sort of thing. Like, I think, who's done a video about this where it'd be like, okay, if you owned like 100 copies of ASM 300 versus one copy of ASM 1, like you would actually make more money, right? Because you could sell that and stuff. So I kind of get what you're saying. I think it's like what you want. If your goal is to collect, I mean, I'd rather collect a Dragevich, but if your goal is to make a little bit of profit, then yeah, you're going to do better with the 10 cover A's. Disney needs to sell their properties to someone that knows their audience. Well, they're not selling. That's the thing. I know there's been a lot of talk of like, Bob Iger wants to sell to Apple and things like that. And like, maybe that's true. I don't know. But like, I don't think Disney is going to sell Star Wars or Marvel anytime soon, unless they literally are in like financial strain. But I think they're actually okay. Because, I mean, look at their parks. Like they're using these IPs. You know, they built Avengers, Avengers Town or whatever it is. Like they literally revamped Tomorrowland into Star Wars Land. Like they're all in on these IPs. Like this, they're going to use them. So I don't think they're selling anytime soon. Hopefully they just get the people who are passionate about the material. And actually now, I think now it's actually a really good place because the brand is so hurt. It's become less sexy of a position in Hollywood to have. And I like from writers to directors to actors to whatever, like for a while it was like a very, very a sexy position. So even if you weren't into the comic book stuff, like your agent was like, yo, you got to get on this Marvel project. Yo, I'm putting you up for the Marvel. Like they were like, let's go. Now it's not cool anymore, which actually I think is going to help because now you're only going to have people who want to do it. Be pitching and trying to get involved in some of these projects. So I think that'll be better because you have the people who are passionate about material. And I have a different opinion that a lot of people out there, like a lot of people always talk about how like we need to get like comic book fans doing these movies or like the people who make these movies need to know the source material. I actually don't totally agree with that. I think that you don't have to be a historian. You just have to respect the material. And I know that's like kind of the same thing, but you just have to like, if you have the project, you have to do your due diligence to be like, yo, like talk to the historian. They should have people who are at Marvel that are like historical experts. I mean, when I've written for a franchise and stuff, like I didn't know all the source material, but like you got to talk to the person that's like, hey, so what is the deal with this character or what happened here? Blah, blah, blah. So they just have to have that respect for it. Anyone see the mid-credit scene in the Marvels? That should excite everyone. I know the mid-credit scene. I won't say it here on the stream in case people don't want spoilers, but I do know what happened. And yeah, could be cool. Heritage manipulated the video game market. Huge conflict of interest. Yeah, that was that Wata Games sort of thing. That was definitely a big scandal. I don't know all the details, but I saw some videos on that. Let's see. Dr. Pross says, Swag, I may be crazy, but I feel a certain avidity towards Grail signed by Avengers actors like A4 by Chris Evans and Strange 110 by Benedict Cumberbatch. I think I'm just wistful for Golden Age MCU. Well, I've never been a big fan of having actors sign books with like maybe some exceptions. But like when it comes to like a silver or golden age book or even a bronze or whatever, I personally wouldn't get an actor to sign my book because I don't think it's not timeless. Like as much as Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man to us, one day someone else is going to play Iron Man. And when that day happens, like that person will become the new iconic person playing Iron Man. And maybe not the next person that plays Iron Man, but maybe the person after that. And then in like now your Tales of Suspense 39, it's like having Lou Ferrigno's signature on Hulk #1. It's like, yeah, it's still kind of cool, but like he's not Hulk anymore. So I don't like the celebrity signatures on books. But I think that there can be some books that it's like, it's worth getting them signed. I mean, get Robert Downey Jr.'s autograph on a non-key Iron Man modern comic book. That's cool, All I know is that MODOK was an Avenger. Yeah, that's that's an example of like, you're not allowed to make him an Avenger. You can't say that's not, you're not Pepper Potts. Only Pepper Potts can make him an Avenger. You know what I mean? Like I hate, it bothers me so much that they like throw around like you could be an Avenger. Like, no, you can't. It's owned by Stark Industries. MODOK was the strongest Avenger. He wasn't. He died. His story is over. And good riddance. Swag, you following the Action 1 page almost at 40K. Rolo, I didn't actually catch that. There's an Action 1 page in this auction. I should look at that. It almost doesn't surprise me because what was it? It was like the little piece of Action Comics, like a tiny little piece, sold for $7,000 or $8,000, right? Wasn't it something ridiculous like that? That was actually in a CGC slab. So crazy. Here in 2023, pages are underrated, untapped market. There's a lot of potential with pages. We always make the joke with Automatic and Como. Pages, you can get good returns on those pages. People need them for the married copies. I think the standard UF4 cover is a million times better than the Djurjevic cover anyway. Interesting. I think I personally like the Djurjevic one more. But I like seeing Miles in his full costume. I think that's why. I do think objectively, probably the cover A is better. It's more dramatic. I think I just like seeing him in full costume. My favorite one is the Marvel Previews magazine one. Of all the Miles covers, I think that one's my favorite. I think Marvel MCU should move on from Avengers and space characters for a while. MCU should focus on horror, magic, supernatural for a while. I mean, it felt like that's what they were maybe going to do, right? Like when they had Werewolf by Night, they had Blade coming in. I thought we were going to get some, monster story stuff, but honestly, I think that they're just struggling to get anything going. Just tell a good story. That's what they have to do. They just have to put one foot in front of the other at this point. CGC is a trap. In an effort to get people to watch in theaters rather than on the small screen, they over-index with CG at the expense of all things that make a good story. Yeah, I do agree that they 100% rely too much on CG because it's easier. And it's actually stupid because they spend more money doing it. So their budgets are bloated, but it's easier to do. I don't know if any of you guys ever work in production or film and stuff like that. It's really easy, getting in your car and driving to the soundstage, and having your latte there, walking up to the green screen in a controlled temperature environment, sitting on your director's chair and having the monitor and video village. It's very comfortable filmmaking. But when you're comfortable, that doesn't always yield the best results, right? Sometimes you need to be pushed. Sometimes you need to get on a 10-hour flight to like Alaska, and go into like the frozen tundra and wake up at 5 a.m. to get the sunrise shot where you only have 15 minutes to get that perfect image, you know, and everybody's miserable and you don't have good coffee there and everybody hates each other and you don't want to be there and it's terrible. But that's sometimes when you have the best work, you know, when you feel a little bit of that urgency and that fire. And I think that there's a lot of grit that is missing from a lot of the movies because the actors are too comfortable. Like everyone is too comfortable just showing up to a soundstage. And then you rely on CG, and you know it's nice for the reason they do it is because now they're on such a content pipeline. You know how Disney operates, right? Where it's like they look at their calendars and they're like, okay, we have like Q2, we need to have like this tentpole piece, this movie, and then this and this content piece, and that type of filmmaking is very, very friendly to when you have calendars and you need to hit content quotas and things like that. And that's why they've done it like that, right? It's very streamlined. A lot of stuff can go wrong when you have to like travel to India to get like a scene, and you have to travel to Asia and hike this mountain and blah, 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 you know, so they need to bring that back. I don't know if we're going to get that, but I think that that type of stuff would drastically improve the quality. Actors can make serious life mistakes. I'd be pissed if my A498 signed by Chris Evans suddenly became worthless because he did something awful, you know. Yeah, you have that factor too. You know, you can always taint the book. But Chris Evans is a darling, right? Chris Evans is not going to do anything bad. Disney Plus should be individual stories. Team-ups and boss fights should be theater. Yeah, well, I think that felt like that always should have been the theory, right? That always should have been the idea where it's like your movies are where you have significant things happen and your TV shows are where you can get a little more character stuff, you know? Like I think trying to think like what would be a good example? Like yeah, Werewolf by Night was a good little piece, right? We got a little corner of the universe, little small story, and that's cool. It was great, you know. But even all the stuff that happened in Loki, like that kind of feels like you need, if this is that important, you sort of need this to be in a movie, you know. I don't love Pedro for Reed Richards, but I could see him playing the role as well. All I can say is they better not F up the Doom casting and costume design. The previous films portrayed Doom have been pitiful. Yeah, Doom's been really weak in his portrayals. He's not been the best. I think he hasn't been great. So they got to nail Doom. There's a lot of talk right now, you know, them pivoting to Doom versus like, you know, or abandoning the Kang story and pivoting to Doom. Like, look, that might get temporary excitement from fans, but it's not really, Kang's not necessarily an issue. I mean, maybe some of you disagree, but like again, if it was good, it was good. You know, if the Ant-Man 3 was good, then Kang would be good. You know, same problem still can exist for Doom. You know, if they make a FF movie and bring out Doom and it's on the level of like the ones that we got from Fox, like that's not going to fix anything, right? So it's like Doom might be exciting, but it's not going to fix all the issues. It's an action one page. Page one containing the origin of Superman. Oh, so it's a good page. So it's definitely a good page. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean, if it's got a nice splash and everything, and it's actually a significant page, like I mean, 40K doesn't sound wrong to me, especially since like what do we have? We had the Action Comics 105 Blue Label sell for $400 something thousand, right? So like even your lowest entry point into this book is still $400,000. So a $40,000 page actually, not that I'm gonna say it's a good deal, but it sounds not impossible. The standard UF4 cover conveys more emotion. Yeah, I agree with that. I just like the George Jeffrey White because costume is cool. That's my reaction to it. Is a CJC 05 Tales from the Crypt 34 worth much? CGC Tales from the Crypt 34. I don't even know what that book is. Let's take a look together, guys. I mean, 0.5. I mean, it's not. Everything has value, but is it going to be worth much? I don't know. Oh, so early Frankenstein cover. So you know what's funny about this book? Obviously, all the Universal Monster characters are always really cool, and there's really not that many good Frankenstein PCH books. There really isn't that many. This is one of the only sort of Frankenstein books that you kind of get your hands on. But that being said, you like the theory is like, oh, this is one of the only Frankenstein books. Like in theory, this book should be valuable, but this one never really. People don't go crazy for this thing. You know, they don't go crazy. So 0.5 hasn't been a sale in quite some time, but 4.0 selling for 330. I don't know, 0.5, $100. So you know, probably not worth too much, but someone will pay something for it. You know. All right, how are we doing here? Look at all these bounded books. Like, just I want to get a quick just snapshot of like what these things are selling for. Like, all right, we had 2,000, 3,800, 9,600 for this one. So this one included Special Comics 1, Hangman 2 through 6. So you have some Nazi stuff going on. Maybe that's why this one went for 10. Here you have first Archie cover, 8,400. So yeah, the ones that actually do include some of the key books, Pep Comics 16. So this one might have been, does this have first Archie in it, or is it this one? Oh, it's this one. Oh, wow, look at this. Holy moly, dude. So Pep Comics, this bounded one, that includes, I think it's Pep Comics 22. That is the first appearance of Archie. But that's a badass cover, by the way. Pep Comics 20. I haven't spent much time looking at it. That's a cool cover. I like that. I don't like Nazi covers, guys, but like that's pretty cool. 43,200. Holy moly. I mean, Pep Comics 22, right? Like, this is interesting because even getting this book, I think you're going to have a hard time spending anything less than that. So Pep Comics 22, I think the recent sale, the body blue one, the 3.0 sold for 69,575. So, wow. That's a lot of money, guys. 43,000. So I'm that's impressive. That's a really surprising sale. I mean, even at a bounded book, I mean, it's still the comic, so people still want it. I suppose there's probably a way. I wonder if you could unbound it and actually get the book. Here you guys see. I wonder if you could unbound this and actually get still a 1.0 out of it. You probably could in some way. I guess if book was completely split, right? Like let's say you had to rip it out. And so it's completely split, cover split, all pages are split, all of that. Could you still get a 1.0? Maybe you get a 0.5. And plus you have all these other ones here. Actually, I can understand why this sold for that. Because if you want to do the work, and even if you get 0.5s for all of these, you could sell some of that. You still walk away with a decently priced Pep Comics that's still going to cost you $40,000 to get your hands on it regardless. So that's actually pretty impressive. That's wow, that's a lot of money, but it kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense to me. We had 6,000 here, 10,000 here. Any other ones that were crazy? Maybe ones that had some big keys in it. Looks like that was sort of the big one. Okay, and then we're almost at the AF-15. We're gonna break that down. But let me check back in with the chat here. Swag, do you think the heat on the UF4 second print with Miles' headshot could increase if the live action is cast well enough? I mean, high tide raises all ships, right? Like that would be my response to that. It wouldn't be the thing I would bet on, you know. Like I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go in thinking that the second print, because it has his face, is going to be the one that's more desired. I think there's too many competing books, from the Jujevic one to the first print to the two second prints that exist. So it wouldn't be my first choice if I was going to like spend money on one. But like I said, can high tide raise all ships? Yeah. If the values of those books go up, then that one will go up in direct proportion to all the other ones. Well, the previous high, this is for the action one. Well, the previous high was page 5, which has the cover on a panel. Sold previously for about 28K. So this is blowing it out of the water for the most ever paid for a single page. Yeah. Is it going to be the most ever paid for a single page of any comic ever? That's kind of cool too. I'll have to do a recap video, some kind of recap video. We'll take a look at all this stuff. Some auction highlight video or something. Is there a way to get your book at a store in London? I don't have it in consignments right now as far as like it being available, but if you go to swagglehousecomics.com, save 5%. No, I'm just kidding. If you go to swagglehousecomics.com, you can actually buy that book. There's also some on eBay. What I could do too is I've been using a little bit of a hack. Is I put some on eBay, and they have a great international shipping situation too. So maybe I can do that. I had some. I sold them out on eBay, but I can list more if you're interested. That could be a good way to do it. We got Metal Bum in the house. What's going on, Metal Bum? Good to see you. Rollo says, anyone notice FF48, 49, and 52 have seemed to be making a bit of a recovery? I swear those were down so much the last year or so. Well, it depends on what grade you're talking about. I feel like those books have really corrected finally in a necessary good way. But I think it depends on what grade level you're at. A lot of the price compression in the mid to high grades and low grades and things like that. So those ones needed to correct. But those are also the silver books. They're all like 1966. So you started to have a higher census for a lot of them compared to like the 1964 books and some of those other ones. So that's kind of why you see them getting hit more than maybe some other books. But maybe they've also started to stabilize. There was a 9.8 FF48 that sold, I think, some months back, and it actually got a really respectable price. Cameron says, I think you can definitely unbound with enough effort. Yeah, probably. That makes sense. That makes sense as to why you would want to take a gamble on that. Because if you can walk away with a PEP 22, you could probably, although I don't know what the fair market value for some of those other books are. I have to assume that there's definitely still some value. So at 43,000, you could slab the other ones, sell them off, maybe a couple thousand a book if they're keys, maybe even more. So then you can walk away with PEP 22 for 20 grand. I think that you probably would do really well. So that makes sense to me as to why that sold that high. All right, almost through these books right here. AF15 coming up. We're gonna talk about this now. Amazing Fantasy 15. Said in some of the other videos, it's finally starting to show up less. Last couple sales on it were pretty solid, or at least like finance floor, but it depends on where we are. It depends on what kind of grade range. Still very competitive at the low grade, but go collect 3.5 selling for $4,300. I don't think that's a real sale. What is this? No way, it's not a real sale. But look at that crash, guys. 37,000 straight to 4,300. It's got to be the worst crash in all of comic right there. Our last 6 sales, 90-day sales, sold for $75,000. Currently, this is at $58,800. So still a little ways to go for this one. Now, again, based on the models, I think you had a July 2020 sale for $48,000. You had a December 2020 for $56,866. So I think that $60,000 is the right price for this book. I actually think that the 75 was still too high, even though it had corrected from 93 and corrected from 96. But based on the index models and what we've kind of been seeing, I think that so November 2020, so 66,000. So to me, it's like this is a $66,000 to $70,000 book. That's where it actually should be. Maybe a little bit less. Currently sitting at 58. So a couple more bits, be right in line. and doing well. Let's take a look here. We got Nakota in the house. What's going on, man? I found enjoyment collecting signed prints or getting sketch covers at Comic Cons. I believe it's my end game. What is the end game for your collection? Yeah, I mean, the signed stuff, the original art is definitely definitely the experiential part, right? Having something that's truly special, truly unique, catered to you, one of one. That's what you want. That's what you want to have in your collection. So I totally get that. I totally get that, especially if it's like, you can get it from someone who you really, really admire or an artist you really like and things like that. It's very special. What is the end game for your collection? I mean, my end game is I have some grails that I want to have. I keep my collection pretty small generally. I do. Pretty much everything on my back wall is what I'm generally currently keeping. Everything else is for sale. And yeah, I have end game stuff. I mean, I'd love to have a Cap Comics #1 in my collection one day. That's really the main one that I want. I don't know. I'm pretty Marie Kondo with my stuff. I just kind of always assess every year. What do I want? What do I still love? What still sparks joy? Keep those books, move on with the rest. End game, I'm not going to be buried with my comic books, so sell them eventually. I don't know. It's a good question. What is the end game? I do want to do a video topic on that, the end game of comic books. There's some people I want to talk to, some collectors I want to talk to get to pick their brain of the end game. Got to catch them all. Best of luck with that. Shout out to Drew, Como's Comic Books. He had a thing where he wanted to own every single Marvel Silver Age comic. Maybe DC too. And he's actually really close. Isn't that crazy? I was like, dude, that is a feat right there. I think he only has a few left that he needs. So it's pretty wild. All right, we had the auctioneer turnover, guys. We're finally going to hit these Marvel Silver Age books. We're going to watch some of these early ASMs and things like that. I might go over to this FF1 just to talk about it. And also this bound one. Then maybe wrap it up here because I got to eat some lunch. But we're not there yet. We have a lot to talk about still. We have a lot to discuss with some of these books. I'm curious with this AF-15. Let's get in on this one a little bit. Now, I think it's a solid 6.0. It's a solid 6.0. It does have this corner break up here, which is surprising. But it makes sense. I mean, that's still within the 6.0 range. A little bit of roughness here. Maybe that's a date stamp. A little bit of roughness here. But, it's not a bad the colors are nice. It's not a bad copy. Back, let's check out the back. Back looks pretty good. Looks like you could actually clean this, right? Clean that off. So maybe this is a candidate. I don't know. Old label here, off-white pages. It's a pretty sizable color break, but I think it's still within reason to a 6.0. Because, right, if we're thinking a 5.0 is a sub-crease, right? So that's less than that. Little tanning over here. Is that what that is? So I don't know. Maybe you could improve this book. Maybe a 6.0 is generous. I don't know what you guys think about this one, but I am curious to see what this sells for. We got Reef in the house. What's going on, Reef? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks again, guys, for hanging out with me here today. Hopefully this has been entertaining for you guys. Always good to fire up a stream during an auction, talk some comic books, see everything go to zero. We're in sell mode. Earlier we were in buy. Right now we're in sell. We're going to be full bears. We're going to be bear goal Haas for the rest of the stream. All right, we got Adventure Comics here. first Silver Age appearance of Aquaman. The Aquaman book earlier, More Fun Comics, sold for a lot due to the red colors. First silver appearance of him. I don't know. Don't love the cover, right? Some of these, I like DC, but some of these Adventure Comics covers are not the coolest. You know what I mean? They're not the best. This is getting a lot of money right now. 28,000. Very respectable. Kevin says, "Oh, what up, Swag? I'm glad to finally make a live stream. This is my first. Thanks for always putting out great content." Hey, Kevin, you're welcome. Welcome to the stream. All right, here we go, guys. Let's listen in together.
Lot number 119. 49,000. Heritage Live asking 50 now. 52,500. Heritage Live coming in at 55,000. 55,000 is the advance. 52,500 is the bid. It's on the cut with Heritage Live, and it's with you. Do I have 55,000 now? A highly sought after grade, after in any grade. This is a 6.0. This is the origin of the first appearance of Superman. Plus, we've got a Jack Kirby cover. 52, 55. There's my bid. 60,000.
Wow.
55 would give them 60,000. 60,000 is the advance. Heritage Live, the bidders with you at 55 goes 60. 57,500 to cut bid. 60,000 is the full vote. Let's go 60,000 Heritage Live. 55 is bid, go 60. 60,000 is the advance. That could be covered. Deepest art, extended story, what a combination. Asking 60,000 from you now, Heritage Live. Again, coveted in any grade. I need your bid at 60,000 Heritage Live. I'm going to do fair warning now. All bids in. Last chance. 60,000. We sell at 55,000.
All right. What do we get? We get 66,000. Well, what did we say, guys? We said that, right? We were taking a look here. We're looking at the comps. Again, November of 2020, this book sold for 66,000. Now, I don't know if you guys saw my my video of the index recently, where I think the thumbnail was the crashes in, but really I was just sort of demonstrating that we've sort of crossed that December threshold of values. And the thing that's so crazy about it is, I just did this thing, and again, the index is not a perfect system, but what's been so impressive is that it's really been able to show like high value books as well. Like even though AF15 is not a part of my index, I don't actually have it included in it because the values would sway too much, because it's weighted towards value. It's the index has still been a predictor of how some of these silver grails were going to perform as well. So I think that 66,000 is like, it's right there. Like that is 100% what this book should sell for. And I think was a good number. Now, I think we still have to sort of pay attention to where the next couple months go with the index. I think November could go even lower. What I've always been sort of trying to figure out is like, will we cross the threshold truly? Will we really, truly cross the threshold? Like, and if that happens, then it's like, okay, guys, we gotta stop the brakes and see where this is going. But so far the model has held, and yeah, even for a value like this, it's right in line. So 66,000, a respectable sale for that. Let's take a look at this ASM number 6. I'd love to have that book. ASM 6. This is one that it's funny. Even though the Lizard is my favorite, I don't think that this is the one that gets a lot of love like some of the other books. 14, 2, 3. It's definitely lower on the totem pole. But 9.4 selling for 11,000. That's probably actually a decent deal. This is one that you can see, not all these books are perfect, like, oh, they go up year after year. They actually go pretty sideways. A lot of these sort of villain books and things like that at this level. So 15,000. So yeah, a little bit less than what it was before. Yeah, 12,001 in 2018. So even less than that. So, they're not perfect return on your investment books, these high grade keys, but they're villain keys and things like that. These are really for the people who want this in their collection. Now, that also could just be a Lizard problem. Because here, what do we have? We had 25,000 for the 9.4 white pages on Green Goblin, 24,000 the last sale here on Heritage Auctions, 38,000 before that, 28,000 before that. So still, again, a little bit of a haircut on some of these ones, but that was a little bit of COVID money that had to get sucked out of them. But still, beautiful, beautiful copies, beautiful books right there. White pages. All right, we're going to go through to FF1. We're going to see how that market reacts to that, and then we're going to make fun of Dr. Doom as well and FF5s because, again, I've made this joke. There was 2,000 FF5s on the census, and 1,999 of them are for sale at all times. Like it is crazy to me how often this book shows up for auction, for sale, consignment pages, everywhere. Dealer walls. I was at Collector Summit, and like every dealer had like 3 copies of them. I think I've literally seen every single Doom book on the census in person in my life. Touched all of them because they're always for sale. It's so crazy to me. But again, I think it has a lot to do with the Doom factor. It's like Doom is the perfect book. It's the perfect one price point to swing into some of the safer stuff. You know, if you got to let go of one of your Marvel Silver Grails, what are you going to let go of? You're going to let go of the Doom. You know, it's just how it is. Brandon says, "Hey, Swaggle, you keeping the flamethrower gassed up? What do you think?" Oh, how long have we been going here, guys? Marathon stream. You said it here, Reef. Marathon stream for sure. But it's good to do these ones because later on I can clip out some segments and figure out some stuff, and make other content from it. You know, we do a long stream right here. We get it all in. I'm going to be on the road going up for Thanksgiving. So taking a little bit of a holiday break. I don't know, you guys have Thanksgiving plans. So, you know, we'll have to position out the content on the channel as I can go eat Thanksgiving turkey. But I do have a lot of stuff. Speaking of Collector Summit, I do have interview videos I need to put out. So stay tuned for that one. I have another Swagglecast podcast that I did with Sean of Reserved Investments. If you guys know his YouTube channel, that's going to be a fun one. We had some good conversation in that. So, you know, got to put all that stuff together, got to put it out on the channel, and it'll be good. It'll be good. As we go into the end of November here, end of December, I have some unboxing videos to do. Backed up. I'm still waiting on some other stuff from CGC I got to get. I was getting really lucky with the quick turnarounds, but then have to wait on this last one. All right. Batman 121, 9.2 white pages. Look at this, guys. 78 grand.
Mr. Brie. 60,000 goes 65,000 Heritage Live. 60,000 against you all. On the order bid 65,000 is the advance. I'll take this cut bid at 62,500, asking 65. 65,000 to you now, Heritage Live. I need to bid 65,000 off their warning. Are you going to leave this here at 60,000? Last chance. Sell at 60,000. You have one bidder. Number 128.
$72,000 for Batman 121. I don't know what the prices are off the top of my head, but that sounds like a lot of money to me. Let's take a look at this. Mr. Freeze, this book has been on Fuego, ironically, because everyone is anticipating that Mr. Freeze, the next Batman villain in line. You know, everyone's all excited about this stuff. And man, look at that, dude. Let's see if the record sale for this blew it out by a mile. I mean, we've had some lower grade stuff go for sale, $4,000 on a 6.0, things like that. Let's see if the 9.2 has gone for sale. $5,000 back in 2008. So this is the first time in a long time a book that high of grade has gone on sale. You know, we had a couple, a 28 and a 22 here at the 9.0 level, but that 9.2, I mean, 9.2 white pages, $72,000. I mean, I'd have to do the napkin math. I'd have to really figure out, like, is that proportionate? Is that correct? Like, we went from 28 on a 9.0 to 72 on a 9.2? That seems like a huge jump. It seems like a massive, massive jump. Only one higher, though. So big, big sale for that one right there. DC, very, very hot on that. Kevin says, that was one of the best commercials I've seen in a long time in any market for any final product. Nailed it for sure, the flamethrower. Kevin, I appreciate that. Thanks, man. It was fun to do. You know, I'm on camera on my YouTube. I don't really particularly enjoy acting in that same way, but you know, we had to do it. Had to get the book out there. I showed my dad your Silver Age index graph not too long ago, trying to explain to them why I spend so much money right now in a down market. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, again, now is as good as any time there's been to buy in the last 3 years. And hey, as I facetiously have in the title of this video, where I say, like, you know, I like to make the jokes. I think you guys all get it. All aboard to Zero Town. You know, I'm joking about it, but look, yeah, maybe everything goes to zero, or maybe it doesn't. But if it doesn't, I mean, again, like we said, now is as good a time as any to buy, right? At least in the last 3 years. What's going on, Nico? We got the Blue Chip Comic in the house. Hey, first time catching a live stream. Thanks for hosting the auction. Yeah, good to see you, Nico. If you guys don't know Blue Chip Comic, go follow him. Great dealer out here in California, in the San Diego area. He's always showing up on my dealer interview stuff. Go check out his Instagram. He's always got great books for sale. Really great trading opportunities and things like that. He does really, really fair approach to it. So if you guys want to get in on some major key books and you're somebody who would rather trade into that, highly recommend. Go check him out. The Batman first Mr. Freeze went for 60K. Damn, yeah, dude, 72 to finish. Batman keys are always a solid buy in my book, in my opinion. I can't get anyone big ones, but I'm starting to get cheaper ones. Yeah, I mean, again, you'll never go wrong buying Spider-Man and Batman, right? They're the two biggest characters. They're continue to be the most desired superheroes, right? The most collected. So ASM keys, Batman keys, I mean, you'll always have a buyer, right? You'll always have a buyer because there's a big enough demand out there. Ryan predicted 70K for Batman 121. Okay, yeah. We'll call him a prophet. Ryan called it. No, shout out to Ryan. He always has good predictors. I didn't do the models here, so good to know that it's sold in line. Thank you, sir. What were the best DC buys this morning? What were your thoughts on the Batman 405 Batman 1 CBS sale? I mean, that was the one that we talked about a little earlier in the stream, but I think the Batman 1 was like someone got a bargain. You know, someone got a deal. That I mean, no matter how you want to spin it, right? It's either someone got one of the buys of the year or that book went to, you know, Zero Town. But I think either way, you know, it was an interesting story because it was like that question of like, oh, I wonder if this new CBCS label is going to kind of, you know, close the gap a little bit. Well, CBCS did not play a role in that one. And it's interesting because it was a nice looking copy. Like it sold for like a 2.0 price. And it seemed like, I mean, worst case, right? Like if you really don't like it, you can crack it out and send it to CGC. And like even if you get a 3.5 from them, you're still going to be in the green with what you paid for it. So that one got beat up. There were some other ones that sold pretty decently, like More Fun Comics, the action or the Aquaman one got a pretty decent price because I think the cover was really nice colors. Superman one took a little haircut. Maybe the Marvel Comics one didn't sell. I mean, it was so expensive, but I think like a lot of stuff have moved sideways. You know, I think the Batman one got hit pretty bad. And it seems like in this auction right here, it's like, yeah, there's like, you know, big sales and some small sales and things like that. But I'd say it's a good auction. Hasn't been record setting across the board. All right, what else do we have here? We had this 9/8 Ra's al Ghul sell for 10,000. Pretty cool. I don't know how many 9/8s are on the census, but 1971 book 9/8, not easy to get. Daredevil 1 in a 9/0 selling for 18,000. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at this FF, and then we're going to break this down.
25,000, 26 is the advance. Heritage Life 26, 28 is against you on the book. I'm asking for it 30,000. 28 is big, 35, try again at 32,000. Heritage Life. Still against you at 30,000 with a prior bid. 32, you have the bid. Heritage Life. The book is out. It's all you. Let's go 34. 36 is next. Heritage Live. 34 asking 36. 36,000 is the advance. I'll take that. Still asking 36,000. This contains the origin and the first appearance of the Fantastic Four. 36,000 is the advance here. Heritage Live, you have a bid at 35, go 36. Just to the cover and art. 35,000 is bid, go 36. Currently number 3 on Overstreet's list of top 50 Silver Age Comics Heritage Live. Don't leave us here at 35, come back in at 36. 36,000 is the advance. Bid now at 36,000, all bids in. Fair warning, last chance. 35,000.
All right, 42,000 on the 6.5 FF1. Let's take a look in here. Don't know off the top of my head what these are, what they should be or go for. Again, we talked about what the AF15 went back right to that November price. And our index has kind of been that as well, right? Like right in that November price. What did we say? 42,000 on the 6.5. So here we go. 6.5 sold a little earlier in the year for 45. Time before that, 43. Time before that, 50, and then 78, right? So again, went way too high in the 2021 stuff. If we look at this, so January of 2021, it was 36. December, and then you had a huge gap. So this would be one that, like, even at 36, that could be hot. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. You know, so you had this 45, and then it just went for 42. Like, based on what we're kind of seeing, it wouldn't surprise me if another one went for sale and it went for 40 or 38, you know, something like that. But 42 is not that bad. Again, I think the biggest drops have happened, like going from this, whatever that was, 88 to 45. Like, all right, that level of dropping seems to be gone. But that could have been there still could be a little froth on that sale right there. But, you know, still, FF1, it's a great book. And now you have Reed Richards casting, you know, maybe there's some movement there. Again, I'm not sold on Pedro Pascal, but hey, we're going to give him a chance. We're going to give him a chance. You got the Doom books here going for sale. Again, I playfully make fun of Doom because I swear these books are always for sale. It's so crazy. It's like, it's not that high of a census, relatively speaking, for, you know, Silver Age stuff, but I swear they're just always so many of them. Always for sale. Colors are a little flat. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was the scan, you know, but it's funny because it's an off-white to white pages book. So it was like, oh, like it kind of looks like a cream, you know, but yeah, it's a little orangish, right? That could be why. All right, the FF books, 22,000, 13,000 respectively. That seems like a big drop from 8 to 7, no? Let's see, fantastic. Oh. Let's take a look at this really quick. I'm just curious to see what some of these mid or high grade books are doing currently right now, you know? So we had this 8.0, 32,000 earlier in the year, just went for 22. Yeah, so, you know, again, needed to come back down to earth. See, it hadn't yet. That's the thing too, right? It's like if certain of these types of books, there's only 36 of them. If they haven't yet corrected from, say, that 2022 sale, where it was 32, it needed to come back down to 2020 or to 22,000. And again, like based on the models, right? What are we kind of seeing right here? Back in January of 2021, it was 24,000. And it just sold for 22,000. So it's like, it's almost exactly like what the index has shown, right? Where it's like, whatever the price of the book was in December/November of 2020 is probably what it's selling for today. So that one was pretty spot on to that. And it just hadn't corrected yet because it hadn't gone up for sale this year. 7.0 white pages, 13,000. So again, similar situation. 21,000 in end of 2022, just sold for 13. So a lot lower. You know, you got to go back to, again, there you see it, December of 2020, November of 2020, 14,000. So actually, I would say this one, I mean, it's right in line. It's right at 14,000, but like, again, you're kind of getting into maybe overcorrection territory. And again, it has to do with a lot of these Doom books that are like, so many of them showing up, but not a bad buy. Like, I would say that that's a great buy, you know, but I don't know. We could still go lower. I mean, who knows where we go from here. But with that, guys, I've been streaming for quite a while. Still a lot of good books coming up. Some of these Hulks and Hulk 181s and things like that. We got some more Tomb of Dracula 9/8. That's pretty cool. Some Playboys, some Vampirellas. And then this one here, I'll probably do a recap video at some point, you know, covering some of the stuff like the Action Comics page, maybe this pulp. I'll probably revisit some of this stuff just because I think it's cool to revisit. But I think as far as the stream is concerned, I am going to be signing off right here. But I want to say thank you guys so much for hanging out. You know, we streamed almost about 3 hours here, 3 hours. So my throat is getting a little hoarse. Finished my water, so I got to go get some food and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it was good. It was interesting, I think, with this current auction, kind of where we are. Like a lot of auctions, you see some books that did really well, sold high. You see some books that sold for less. But I would say that I think that this auction, you had a lot of sideways sales, even for Golden Age stuff. And so even that idea of like, oh, Golden Age only goes up. It's like, well, you know, not always, right? It's like sometimes it's sideways. And I think that that's indicative of, you know, the economy and a lot of things that we've talked about on the channel. So I don't think things are, sky is totally falling. I'm always facetious about everything going to zero. But, you know, we have to be playful here. But I think, yeah, I think that this is probably a good time to buy. Like when I did my catalog preview video, I was like, the deals are coming. I think this is, if you had the capital, if you made some purchases, this was a good auction to get some deals on. Again, we don't really know what's going to happen in the future. Things could go lower. Could be, you know, maybe 2024 it's going to be lower. I don't know. But it seems like, again, good opportunities are out there. And this is just session number 3. I mean, there's still other sessions here. You know, I got to log off because, you know, I too maybe want to bid on some things, you know, find some opportunities. So I want to say thanks again, guys, so much for hanging out. Again, I'm going to do a little bit of shameless plugging once again as I pull up this little thing right here. Hey, what's going on here? One sec. One sec. All right, once again, guys, SwaggleHouseComics.com. You know what it is by now. I'm going to keep saying it, but I got to keep saying it. Come in here, check out the shop, pick up a comic. I got 2 and 3 coming on the way. I know I keep saying it, but it's coming. It's coming. I got the shop right here. If you want to pick up some merch, you know, you want to support me, you know, things like that, come over here, subscribe to the channel. What did I say, guys? I am literally like 40 subscribers away from 20,000. So we got to get there. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Maybe join channel memberships here. There's some perks and some tiers that you can do. I'm not going to play the video because I don't want to hear myself talk, but check it out. You know, maybe there's some value that you can have for that, or you can have, you know, subscribing to the channel and doing a channel membership. And that would help support me because we need to take care. We need to take advantage of some of these deals and these singing prices right now. But that's all I have for this video, that or stream. You know, thanks so much for watching, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out, guys. Let me know in the comments if you watched the rewind. Did you buy any of these books? What did you think about the auction? What did you think about, you know, what happened here in this Heritage Platinum auction? And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, guys. And I will see you all in the next stream. Peace out.